Oh, I got messages. Let's see. Let's see what's going on over here. Let's see. I was about to say, hang on, I'm coming over, and then you were saying,
Oh,
okay, now how do I do this? So
well, you
I just
host
came
for
back.
once. I got a splitting headache from that, and oh my god,
Uh, were you still there when I went off when I left? Well, did you even know I was on?
I'm
I
sorry.
was. Did you even know that I had joined?
I did see you join because one guy thought I was you, and
Yeah,
he kept
I
calling me name.
came in. I came into the chat
Uh,
just as you went up there, and I heard him saying that.
yeah, okay. Hey, we got gray beards. You're not as good looking as I am, but it's close, I guess, for a young pup like that. I don't think he's in the eighth grade yet.
He's a dickhead.
He's wow out there. He was asking some good questions the other day, and I think it was one of Tat's live streams. And I thought, people, he's like, this may be a stupid question. I'm like, there's no such thing as a stupid question. I was trying to answer his questions, and then he went down that rabbit hole and chemtrails and all that. I'm like, okay, there is
Stupid
such a
question.
thing as a stupid question.
Yeah, he's one of those ones. He sort of runs hot and cold, but
Yeah.
he thinks that he's so wise or something. I don't know even what he'll say. Oh, I control everything.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
all I know is
Yeah, he's a bit of an insecure control freak, as a lot of them. I'm not saying all of them. I don't know when you came on, but a lady named Jenny from Switzerland was on, and she'd say something, and they'd all talk her down. And I'm thinking, is this how you feel about the First Amendment? Because most of these folks are pro First Amendment auditors. And
yeah.
their idea of freedom of speech is when she starts talking, everyone just jump in and yell at her, and she can't get two words in edgewise. I'm like, come on,
I,
man.
I came in and I was looking for a link to go up just as I saw you join, and I heard you saying about not letting her talk, but I didn't see what was going on before. But I know a couple of them have personal things with her, and
I,
I
I
don't
don't,
know.
I don't get it. Out talking the whole panel the other day was a guy named Alexander NYPD,
Oh yeah, he's another dickhead.
and he single handedly was keeping them all at bay when they were trying to overtalk him, and he was just over talking them, and he was really ruining the show. And then Jenny came on, and she played some kind of Jedi mind trick on him, and got him to shut up for a while, and it was actually peaceful for a while. And I'm thinking, this is how you remember her?
Alexander is a Kaiser lover, by the way.
It doesn't surprise me. And he sounded a lot like another guy, not Nadia, who just a day or two before.
Nadal.
Nadal,
Yeah.
that's it. He was doing something very similar a day or two before. And I'm like, is this the same guy? And everybody assured me no, that they're both regulars on the show. I'm like, okay, I get it. Osceola invites anyone. Finkel invites anyone. Anyone can join. But, once they get that disruptive, kick them out. And,
Yep.
I,
That's what
I,
I was going to say. That Dubs, he wouldn't last long in my chat.
no. It's funny. He was saying he can run circles around me and out-talk me and blah, blah, blah. And I kept calmly talking. And next thing I know, people are letting me talk. And then I looked at the panel and he was gone. I'm like, oh, I thought he had more stamina than me.
Hey, Jim.
Jim Dandy.
Hey,
Not to
hey,
be confused with an ice cream sundae at Friendly's.
what's happening? What's happening? That's what you're going to think about every time you hear about me, man.
I can't get it out of my head.
I think of the song, and I don't know who it was, but I just remember it. Go, Jim Dandy. Go,
That
Jim
was
Dandy.
Black Oak, Arkansas.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
black water, keep on rolling. Mississippi,
Oh, right.
won't you keep on shining on me. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, Black Oak, Arkansas. There was a guy in the band named Jim Dandy in there. Yeah.
Okay. Which,
Oh.
by the way, I used my singing to calm the savage beast last night over at Eli's.
oh
They
did
were
you?
all, yeah, it was one of those where like four people were all trying to talk at once. And I just sat there going, swing low, sweet chariot. And it took a couple minutes, but pretty soon they all like stopped.
Wow. So you do Jedi mind tricks too.
Music has charms. So, Jim, I saw you the other day at Finkel's, but I know nothing about you.
Well, yeah, not much, man. I just saw you guys, and so I've been wanting to kind of make a little bit better presence online. So I just jumped in, and that's kind of why I'm here now, man. I'm kind of totally okay with having two people watching because that doesn't put a lot of pressure on me. So,
Especially these two easygoing geezers.
Wait a minute, we have two people watching? That's a record.
That's one for each of you guys. I don't know about me. I don't have a fan yet, but here,
Well,
I'm here
me and Finkel share the same fan. Him.
So let's see. So Muck, you're in you're in Florida. You must be in Florida.
No. You I'll learn you a little something.
Okay, well, tell me something.
You're on the right track. Chief Osceola was Florida. He was a Seminole War chief. Do you know anything about him, by the way, other than just knowing Osceola is a Florida name?
I don't know.
I'll give you the brief bio. It was like in the 1830s. He led a rebellion against the Paleface, and he was kicking ass pretty good. And they invited him to a peace conference. And when he got to the peace conference, they arrested him, put him in jail. He died in prison, and there was such publicity about it that, like Finkel just said, there's an Osceola in upstate New York. There's another Osceola in Pennsylvania, which is where I'm at, and there's Osceolas all over the country because of that.
Osceola, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So I've got a buddy that lives up around the Pittsburgh area.
Okay.
I'm in Texas. I'm in the Houston area, but Mike used to live during the 80s. We were buddies. We were roommates and buddies, and then him and his dad came down here after some family problems. They escaped to Houston to go to work, and they lived down here about 10 years, and that's then he went back up to the Pittsburgh area, and he's been up there ever since. He's come down to visit, once or twice, and but we've stayed in touch all these years. But yeah,
there's a little touch of Pittsburgh for you.
How far away is Osceola from Pittsburgh?
It's a couple hours. I'm right in the middle of the state.
Okay.
But I lived in Pittsburgh for a couple years.
Yeah.
We'll hold it against you.
I know a little bit about Pittsburgh just because I knew him. I know that there's two rivers. What is it? The Monongahela and the Ohio formed the
Allegheny.
The Allegheny. Is that right?
The Allegheny, the Mon and the Allegheny formed the Ohio.
The Ohio.
And then the Ohio.
I knew those three were involved, but
yeah. Then the Ohio dumps into the Mississippi eventually.
Yeah. And so yeah, but of course the Steelers. I know about the Steelers, but. That's about it, man. That's really all the education.
I used to associate with some Steelers fans, and I guess they had some kind of competition with the Cleveland Browns.
Oh yeah, that's.
And one of them posted a highway sign in Cleveland, and it said so many miles to Pittsburgh, and they captioned it, "The only sign of intelligent life in Cleveland."
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of teams. You guys got a bunch of teams that are all in a small area. In my being in Texas, there's a 4-hour drive between Houston and Dallas, and then there's about a 5-hour drive to New Orleans. So we don't have that many teams in a small area. I mean, I know around Philly and Washington D.C. and then what else you got? You got Baltimore right in there. You got all those teams right there in a small area.
Wait a minute. D.C. has a professional football team?
Sure. The Washington.
Yeah.
It used to be the Redskins. Now what are they now? The
I
Guardians.
forget what they call them. The Patriots. No, it's not the Patriots. Obviously, that's new.
The Commanders.
That's it. I knew it was something stupid.
I thought they were a local high school girls football team. Okay, they're NFL.
Sure, the Washington Redskins. Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
yeah. They were actually nameless for what, a season or two. They were just called the Washington Football Team.
yeah, the team formerly
Yeah.
known as the Redskins.
Yeah, that's what they called them, and that's crazy.
But
I saw
actually,
that there's some Native American group that's actually filing a lawsuit against the NFL because they want to bring the name Redskins back.
really,
Yeah.
there was I went to a lecture by a Indian activist several years ago by the name of Ray Means. Means. He actually was also an actor. He was in Last of the Mohicans. Um, he was the guy. If you remember seeing it, he was the one that carried that big club. But anyway, he was the one that I first heard say that. And forgive me, and I hate this word, but I'd use it for the effect. He said, as far as they were concerned, redskin was the same as nigger. So that's when I thought, oh, okay, I am not going to support that word anymore. He also explained that squaw is another word that I don't like that has to do with a female body part.
Yeah, that sounds like a derogatory term for a female, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did not know this.
But you know what? There's people out there that have different opinions on all this stuff. So,
yeah. Well, that's like, how people always say about the N word. It's like, well, they say it all the time. And I think, yeah. And I also used to say things about my mother that I'd never want to hear out of your mouth.
Right. I guess so.
But anyway.
Yeah. I would venture to say that they have earned it. Well, it's kind of like pre-Revolutionary War times. The Brits called us Yanks or Yankees as a derogatory term. We took it around and we owned it, and we're very proud of being Yankees now.
Yeah.
Unless you're south of the Mason-Dixon, then it's a whole different meaning now.
Right. Well, yeah. The Yankees baseball team has been owned by the Houston baseball team for quite some time. So I'll go ahead and put that out there.
Let's yell that out on the streets of New York City.
Yeah. Probably would. I've driven through there one time. I actually drove all the way to Boston once, but that's not advisable. But
yeah.
But yeah. I didn't go into New York City, but I went around it. I was, across the George Washington Bridge and keep going north, So
I'm not a big baseball fan. I don't watch a lot of sports much, but I was always a Yankee fan. Mostly, I think, because I grew up on movies about Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and stuff like that. And so I don't mind so much them losing to Houston. I just hate those fucking Red Sox.
Yeah. Well, when the Yankees, so the Astros don't have a long history of being a winning organization until just recently. They've only made one World Series appearance before 2017, and that was in 2004. But in the 90s, whenever it was, I guess it was the 90s or early 2000s when they had Roger Clemens and Andy Pettit. Both of those guys are from Houston, and so there was I was rooting for the Yankees, man, because of those two guys, So
yeah, Clemens was a monster.
He was. He deserves to be in the Hall too. I don't. I guess they're not putting him in because of the whole steroid thing, but somebody, that's ridiculous, man. I don't know. You got to get over it at some point. I mean, I think people enjoyed the game while they were hopped up on, substances that made them better. I mean, it kind of brought the whole sport back.
Well, and I think you kind of have to judge people by the time too.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard to blame somebody for something that was actually common, then, or not only accepted but pretty much promoted. I can remember watching an old David Letterman interview with I forget the guy, but he was a real character. He was an old lineman for the Colts when the Colts were in Baltimore, and he said how Dave asked him the one time about like steroids and that, and he says, I don't know. He said used to be the trainer would just give you a handful of pills and you took them. You didn't know what you were taking. So that's the way stuff was handled back then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can definitely see that. Those guys are contracted. So they're not really employees. I guess they're contractors, and and they are responsible for everything that goes in their body. That's the way it is in the industry that I worked in. I worked in petrochemical for 30 years, and we were drug screened all the time. Drug screened by urine, hair, swabbing saliva. I mean, there's a lot of different methods they've used that I've had to submit to in order to maintain a paycheck. But, yeah.
Yeah, I know when I worked at the library, their main thing was they didn't care about, if you smoked pot or, took LSD, but they always test us for steroids.
Yeah.
I'll just let that sink in for a while until you think, what the hell would they test for steroids at the library? Anyway.
I was amazed when that Olympic swimmer, I can't think of his name.
Oh, I know who you mean. I can't think of it either.
He was found out to be a user of marijuana, and I'm thinking that's not a performance-enhancing drug. In fact, kudos to him that he broke records smoking pot. I'm like, it sounds like he rose above.
Is that Phelps?
Phelps, that's it.
Well, the one that got me was Shaun White, snowboarder. It was the same thing. They took his medal away for smoking pot, and I thought, isn't that pretty much what those guys do? Any of those extreme sports guys. And also I think, how could you ever think that marijuana is performing enhancing? You know what I mean?
I think it was Robin Williams who suggested put it at the finish line. Put a cookie at the finish line, and then marijuana's a performance-enhancing drug.
No.
He tells it better than I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've heard that people that smoke weed and then they go out and do whatever they're doing, with sports related, they're able to focus more.
Really?
They're looking at things with blinders on. Honestly, back in when was that? During the time that I was a young man, about 19, 20, 21 years old, I smoked a bunch of weed when I was playing basketball. I played a lot of basketball. I had dreams of making the NBA and all that. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'8", so.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very few times that I look up to people, but okay, I would to you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had the size. I don't know if I had all the rest of the skills that are necessary, but yeah, I used to run pretty well with some of the junior college guys and stuff around the area. So
I'm 6'2", and when they put me in a Bradley turret, my BC was 6'8", 6'7", something like that. There was just no room in there. And, two guys in a 2-week field program, we got to stinking up that little turret. It was
right.
I plugged your link in the stream that I had started, so anybody who comes over there will see where we went.
Oh, cool.
Muckster, how you doing here? Let me see. Do we have any viewers? I can't see the viewer count. Oh, we have one.
Oh, it just became 0.
We have one. I see one.
I scared them off. Okay.
We've
If
lost
I go to YouTube view, there's one, but if here I can't see a count. I'm used to hosting when Muckster's on with me.
You can see the viewers in the stream yard as well, huh?
You can
Yeah,
if you're
No, now it all of a sudden says 2. Probably people
Oh, maybe the
from,
red
over you.
Okay.
I just realized that yesterday. There's a little. It looks like the CBSI up there, and it has. I realized what that was. You also Well, I guess you guys can see the clock up there in the upper left too, can't you?
26:46? No, 25:47. No, I can't see that.
I don't see that.
Oh, you don't?
That's
It's
going to
red-
be
red box.
for the host, isn't it? I mean, no, I see the little duck. That's it.
Quack, quack.
Oh,
Quack, quack.
oh, that duck, yeah.
This is so much better than that stream I just came from. Everyone talking over everyone. I mean, we occasionally with the delay talk over each other, but we're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm talking over you. Shut up. Oh, my head's still pounding from that.
I have decided to quit that place a couple of times, and then I'll go in. When you hit it at the right time, you can have some really great conversations over there.
Yeah. I think the host has a good idea. Let everyone in and let everyone talk, but he doesn't moderate it. And they do get out of control sometimes, like they were tonight. I'm like, oh, I can't take it. I can't take it.
And some people thrive on that.
Yeah, sadly, that's probably the only attention they get. I don't know. Says the guy who's been on YouTube most of the day, except for when he was napping.
Yeah. That one that was in there while you were there, she wasn't doing much talking, but as far as I'm concerned, she's just downright insane. She thinks everything is a conspiracy, and I mean, it's bad. I know there's a lot of people that think 911 was a setup. I don't, because first of all, I don't think the Bush administration could have pulled it off the way it happened, and secondly, I think if they were going to do it, they're not going to attack Wall Street where all their friends were, But anyway, she was talking about Pearl Harbor being a false flag thing because her uncle, who was, I think like an infantry private or something, he came home on leave and told my parents, and I was listening, that this all, and meanwhile, I was in chat going, yeah, if she was listening to her uncle in 1941, she'd have to be like 95 now. It's like, so
That's
yeah.
Good point. Did the math. I don't believe in all the false flag and we did it to ourselves, all that. But I do believe we knew a little bit more than what the public's aware. But I don't believe they knew exactly who, when, which aircraft. But I believe they were onto the idea that someone's going to try and use aircraft as missiles.
Oh yeah, I think they definitely messed up the intelligence, but I don't think they did it on purpose.
Right. Yeah. It definitely wasn't planned by the government, because you just can't keep that big of a secret. It's like the chemtrails thing. There's too many people, or the flat Earth thing. Like,
well, and I'm going to let Jim talk, but the other one that drives me nuts is I could smack somebody, the ones who think that these parents and stuff at the Stony Brook or any of those schools with the shootings, that never happened. They're a bunch of crisis actors and stuff. I just think that is so disgusting. Anyway,
yeah, I agree with you there, Muckster. But yeah, let's let Jim talk.
Oh, we went back to 0 again, by the way.
It was Dubwubs. He wanted proof that we weren't the same person. And since Jim has a gray beard, maybe all three of us could be the same person. Go back over there.
I was thinking should change the name of the chat to the Graybeard Forum or something.
There you go. Yeah,
it's better than Dead Pecker Rope.
I got one for you. Let's see.
Well, the real Gandalf, stand up. What is that?
That's the real me.
That's the
That's the real you.
okay. Yeah.
I don't know how you do this stuff.
Well, you did it, or did someone
Oh,
do that?
this maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that. When I, in fact, that other stream I was in, when I joined, they blew me up like that. I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. Now it's Dead Pecker Row.
I hadn't had a chance to play around with these things because every time I was playing around, the best I could do was bring in my own sock just to see if
okay.
I could learn how to do stuff. Okay.
I'm not currently on the YouTube view. Do you want me to go to that and you can kick me out?
No, but
Or make
I
me a
did.
mod?
I already did that. I just before I learned how to make you a mod. Hey, we got a one again. You know, guess what? So
One.
I wanted to. And hey, if someone is listening, feel free to come in. But I had,
Jim, plug your YouTube link in the chat, so if anybody comes in, they can see where to go to. Your, if I remember correctly, you're a musician. I'm using the guitar in the background as a hint.
Yes.
Maybe that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah. I play bass guitar.
Oh,
I
cool.
play in a little blues and classic rock band. And
Muckster does covers. In fact, the other night I was going through his videos and I saw him doing. I can't remember who did it, but I most recently saw it on. What's that one about that cheesy lawyer? I can't remember, but he and his girlfriend sing "Till I Say Something Stupid Like I Love You." I'm like, oh, I know that song from the show. But Muckster did a banner performance of it. I'm kidding.
Well, if you see the video that put up that'll drop for tomorrow, I sang like about a whole verse of a song today. You know, usually I'll do like a line at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's actually here. I'll give you a little preview. It's an old drinking song that a couple of us used to hang out in this bar, and it was on the on the jukebox. You can tell me if you know this one. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble.
Yeah, I
You're
wrote this song.
perfect in every way.
That's me. I keep looking myself in the mirror.
I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. I must be a hell of a man.
The musician down here,
Lord,
he's like, stop it.
I don't know
I'm
that
doing
tune,
the best that I can. Mac Davis.
I did a little bit of the Beatles' Little Piggies a little while ago. I made a video. I was going through the live streams and I saw that Willie's got a new channel. Frauded something. But I'm like, that icon looks familiar. So I tuned in for a minute, and this heavyset guy, Willie, who's behind an avatar, and somebody else were fat shaming for public safety. I'm like, really? I mean, it's one thing it's bad enough to fat shame folks, but when you're heavy yourself and you fat shame others, that's like me making fun of you. I'm going to make fun of you because you're missing a tooth. You're missing a tooth. When you point at somebody, there's three fingers pointing back at you.
So
anyway, I sang Little Piggies to it.
I did want to tell you, Finkel, what I did last night. I already thought of what I want for a theme for 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
And so I sat here last night and I came up with songs, and I went on to, came here and I did like 10 of them. So in case some of them got copyrighted, I finished the last song and I looked up and I forgot to hit live.
I've done that a few times. Or
I sat there for like 40 minutes. But I did bookmark them each as I went, so I'll go back and do it again. But I just like, oh my God.
Just don't try to put any Eagles material, because Don Henley will
big.
have you struck down in less than a minute, man.
Oh yeah.
he actually employs. He has a company that he owns, and there's 60 people, from what I understand, that work there, and their entire job is to search the internet looking for copyrighted material so that they can strike it down, get it off of here. If I don't give my authorization, I'm done, Henley. You know, and you're going to do it my way, or you ain't doing it. Right?
Yeah,
that's it. That's how he is.
Did just a few seconds of New York Minute, and that video got shut down hard. You know, sometimes we copyright test it. We'll see it's blocked in Russia. We don't care.
You know,
you can't monetize. We don't care.
The weird thing about that song, that's actually a Joe Walsh tune. Joe Walsh recorded that on his own album.
Maybe that's what you do, is go to the Joe Walsh version. Okay.
But the Eagles, you know, obviously the Eagles did a version of that on the, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, saw that on the Hell Freezes Over tour, but yeah.
It's funny. One time, Fraud at Wrangler advised his users, if a First Amendment outer comes, play Disney music. They'll shut that down. I'm like, so I did a video with Disney music in the background. Like, yeah, I got shut down, didn't I? Disney doesn't care.
I remember watching one of the auditors a while back. It was one of the Southerners, like the North Carolina Tyrant Hunter, and I forget Georgia. Anyway, it was one of the Southerners, and they went into sheriff's station to talk to him. And before the sheriff came out to the lobby, was putting Disney songs over the speakers, thinking that they wouldn't be able to record him then.
Yeah. Then that would get them a copyright strike, right? Yeah.
It's a bigger deal for the monetized channels, but Muckster and I aren't monetized. So
yeah, I'm not either. I don't have.
We don't care about.
You got to have 1,000 subscribers. Finkel, you've got that, don't you?
Last time I looked, I had around 7,000.
Yeah, I mean, I'm barely over 100, I think. But
the only time I looked is when Kaiser accused me of trying to get views off his back, and at the time I was way ahead of him. He's catching up. I think he's getting close to 7,000 now. But when he said that, I'm like, bitch, please. I haven't really looked. Let me look.
I'm striving for 100. I think I hit like 92 or something the last time I looked, because a couple people from over at Eli's have subscribed to check me out. I don't know if they bother sticking around and watch it anymore.
7,500 for me.
Oh, that's pretty.
Really, I have to look to know, because I don't really care that much. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, you know what I did? Instead of I made a short video that's sort of a watch this first.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of posting just like my channel over there, or if I do it somewhere, like, because Eli, he just says, feel free to promote yourself, you know, because I wouldn't just do it anywhere. But so instead, what I do is I put the link for that video. So then I tell people, look, if you want to check me out, here, I'll recommend these 3 videos to you. If you don't like them, don't bother with my channel. If you like them, then maybe you want to look around at other stuff.
Yeah. If I understand it correctly, you set up your channel mainly for your family to see, right?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you exactly how it started. And it's probably the oldest video on my channel, which when I was looking at them, when I was doing that video, I've been doing this for a whole 4 months now. But that means it's like 4 months of daily. You know, once I started, that's why tonight I all of a sudden realized I didn't put one up for yesterday. It was like, oh my God, I got to go do a video. And so I had to come up with something like that. Anyway, what started it was I had a wound clinic appointment. And I'll give you the short version. If you really want to hear it, go to my fucking channel, give me a like, subscribe, you know, anyway. But, and this is I called the video Kids These Days for this reason.
Okay.
Okay. You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I went in, it was a newer nurse. And I went in and she said, by the way, this is just an RN visit today. Because you go over and, you know, it's mostly nurse practitioners or PA. There's not, but anyway, and oh, but I get home nursing. You know, they just come and change bandage, whatever. Anyway, she said it's just an RN visit today. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, none of the providers are available. That's what, for some reason, that's what they call like the doctor type people. And I said, well, I don't know. Why didn't anybody say anything? Because this had happened one time a while before, and they called me up and said, we don't have any providers available. Do you still want to come? And I said, no, I'll just call my home agency, because what's the sense in making the 30-mile drive to see an RN when I can just see them in my living room? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's why I like said to her, well, why? Well, then why did? And she's like, well, I don't know. I didn't make the decision. And it like went on, and the whole time too. And again, you can watch the damn video for the full thing, because that's when it was fresh in my mind. But basically, I was talking like this the whole time. And I always say to people, you're not going to believe me, especially if you know me. But this was my tone of voice the whole time. I was just saying, well, I don't understand. Well, what about? And at one and also during the whole thing, she just obviously didn't know what she was doing. And she said, well, do you want me to go ask somebody? And I said, and this was her big trigger, I guess. I said, well, yes, because if you ask, it could turn into yell. Or if I ask, it could turn into yelling. So she left, and she comes back a couple minutes later, and she says, well, I guess what it was, they there was nobody available, and the way I said, why do you sound more upset than I am? And she goes, well, because I feel threatened.
By you or
by me? And I said, threatened by what? She said, well, just by the way you were talking. And that's what afterwards I had to think back on and thought, well, the only possible thing is when I said it could become yelling. But the whole time I never said, anything, hey, look, bitch, I'm going to, tear this place up.
Another channel we just came from.
Don't make me come down there.
Yeah. Anyway, so that video, I came home and I was going to write it all up on Facebook. Like, hey guys, that's what happened. And instead I thought this isn't going to come off good in text. So for the first time in my life, I did a Facebook Live about it. And after I had it on there, I thought, let me see if I can figure out how to put this on YouTube, because I think on YouTube, it'll be more easily available and all this, So I put it up, and that's what started it all. From that one, I had another video that I did. It wasn't about anything important. Oh, I know. It was just a short thing I did about walking home from my brother's after the 4th of July picnic. So actually the nurse one was my second Facebook Live. So I put that one up too. And then I thought, I kind of like this. And that's what I started doing. Anyway, and that's why 4 months late, I almost have 100 subscribers.
You can, I found this early on. You can take the link to your video and post it on Facebook, and it shows up like a video on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It won't work on the Facebook. Was it live or was it Facebook videos? But it'll be on your channel as a video splash screen. I used to push my videos on unsuspecting people that way.
I do that some, but I feel funny about self-promotion. And I feel like if I do it too much, I'm just annoying people. Because if I tell you once or twice, hey, guys, I'm doing, you can come up and chat live, or hey, I put these videos up, and they don't come. It's kind of like, inviting people to your house for a party. And if they're not there, if you're like start calling people up and going, hey, the party started at 8:00, it gets a little pathetic,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, if you're I saw what was that guy's name that hosts that? He's a game show host, a Family Feud guy. The host, what's his name?
Richard.
No, the one they have now. The one they have now.
Yeah, I know.
Comedian, the black guy.
Yeah. Why
Uh,
can't I think of his name? Ah,
anyway, he's awesome. I love that guy. He's funny.
yeah.
He's a good guy. And anyway, but he was saying something to someone. I think he counsels people and stuff too. But he says he was telling this woman, or if you're calling your man and your man's not answering and you can't reach your man, it's because he don't want to be reached. That's all, So, you gotta kind of give up at some point. You need to understand that that's what's going on.
Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought of it because I used to tune into his talk show once in a while, and I remember he would do a segment called Ask Steve, and people in the audience would ask him things like that. Hey, my boyfriend never picks up the phone, or hey, they do this. And he, he does things for laughs, but he also, he could do some brutal truth with people on some
He
of
sure
that
can.
stuff.
He'll tell you the way it is. And yeah.
We're gonna step away just for a minute. I'll be back if you're still here. If you're not, I won't be back, but I'll be back.
If we sneak away to your channel while he's gone.
Yeah.
So do you do any singing in the band?
Yeah, I do. I do probably, I don't know. We play about, what do we got, about 40 or 50 songs we play in a given night. And so, yeah, I sing probably 10, 15 of them, something like that.
You seem like you had the voice for it, but sometimes you can't always tell by the spoken voice,
Yeah. I'm old enough to know, and I've been doing this long enough to know what my limitations are. So I try to stay in my own little world. This is what I can do, and I can do pretty well. So I stick with that. I don't want to try and, when I was younger, I would go and try and do more than what I could really handle. But so I'm not that coordinated. I'm not that talented. I think I mentioned the other day about, when you think about great piano players like, Paul McCartney or Elton John or Billy Joel or somebody like that, their left hand and their right hand are completely independent and busy doing something that has nothing to do with what the other hand is doing. And I don't know how they do that.
I'm always amazed when I would watch guys doing that, and this one's over here going da 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 da, and this one's going
yeah.
It's like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So playing the bass guitar and singing is kind of the same deal. So I need to be kind of doing the same rhythm when I'm singing, and what I'm playing needs to be very similar to, or I can't pull it off. And I mean, I have worked it through some over the years, and if I spend a crazy amount of time on it, I can do some of that. But you have to try and find trigger points or spots that are, when you do that, you need to be doing this, and when you do that, you need to be doing this. So
a guy I always thought was amazing, and he's not actually well known because he was part of a band. Do you know Harry Chapin's music?
Yes, I'm familiar with Harry Chapin. I'm not.
Do you know the song 30,000 Pounds of Bananas? There's a part in there, he sings, and there's a part in there where the one guy, because they have the refrain, 30,000 pounds of bananas. And at one point it's 30,000 pounds. And there's this guy with a real deep voice goes, "Oh, bananas." Now, the thing about that is, in his, I guess his most, it's in Taxi, his most famous one. There's a part in that song where there's a real high soprano voice. I won't even call it falsetto. It's like a soprano.
Mm-hmm.
and it's the exact same guy that goes, "Oh, bananas."
Hmm.
He's got this like 8-octave range.
Mm.
They, I know in the band his name was Big John, but it just always amazed me that he, you know. Anyway,
Mm.
At the
No,
bottom of this mine lies a big.
there's
big
not. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You said Big John. It made me think of an old song. Sorry.
Big
Big John, Big John, Big Bad John. Was that it?
Yep.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, I don't know much about the Harry Chapin band, but I grew up in the late '60s and early '70s. I was born in '64, but I was always into that music. I mean, I remember my earliest memories of music are riding in the car, listening to AM, pop radio, whatever they were doing. So, yeah.
I got a couple years on you, so you have to listen to me. I know more.
You're my elder.
You know what? Well, the best memes or whatever it was I remember seeing was a guy said, "I always wished I'd had a twin that was born like a minute after me, so I could keep saying, when I was your age."
Yeah. Yeah.
My brother's almost exactly. He's 2 days less than a year older than me, and everyone used to call us Irish twins, even though our family heritage is mostly Polish. We're Irish twins. It took me forever to figure out what they meant.
Oh yeah.
My girlfriend's a singer, and just
Cool.
a couple of years ago, I didn't know what the word falsetto meant.
Mm.
But when you date a singer, you start picking up a few things.
There you go. Yeah. There's a song. You know who Chris Isaac is?
No.
He had a song called "Wicked Game."
Oh yeah, yeah.
In the '90s. That's a song we do, and I sing that one, and that goes into a falsetto.
I think he probably wasn't the original, but I think didn't Elvis used to do it too?
Did he do that?
I think so.
I don't
I could
know
be.
that.
That guy from Queen, Freddie
Mercury.
Yeah.
They looked that up.
It's funny. My girlfriend and I watched a few movies about singers. Freddie Mercury's story, Elton John's story.
I didn't like the Elton John one, by the way.
The Rocket Man. Okay.
It was too fantasy for me.
It didn't take long for me to realize especially these people can do the falsetto real good.
Yeah.
Their mouth is a unusual shape. Mick Jagger was another one. I'm like, there's something in common with their mouths. Does that make them better singers? Because her mouth's not like that. She looked at me like, "You saying I'm not a good singer?" I'm like, "That's not what I meant."
Freddie Mercury refused to have his teeth fixed. You know how he had those big front teeth because he was afraid it would screw up his singing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard that when they made that movie here a few years back. They were discussing that with that actor that was playing him,
Rami Malek.
Yeah. I saw him the first time I saw that guy was in a series called Robot Guy. I don't know what the hell.
Oh
was that?
yeah, yeah. I didn't watch. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah,
it was pretty entertaining. It took a few episodes to kind of get into it. I forget what the heck was that called. Rami Malek. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like Are You a Robot or something like that? Wasn't it from like the CAPTCHA thing? Didn't it?
Wasn't that yeah, I know that. Let me go see what he did.
By the way, can I tell you something about me, Jim?
No,
just because you have, I will often when somebody says, "What's the name of that?" You'll notice I have it a lot of times, and I don't mean to be a know-it-all. It's just that my mind keeps track of a lot of trivial, unimportant things, but it loses the important stuff. So it's.
I should remind you, though, those of you who think you know it all are annoying to those of us who do.
Yes.
You stole that. You stole that from me.
We stole it. Actually, I heard it years ago, but yeah.
Oh, really? I thought I invented it.
But there's no original idea under the sun.
So you're 65. I mean, you're 1965.
Yes, 1 year later than my brother.
I'm I'm 57, but I always relied on the fact that I started first grade when I was 5, so I was always a year younger than everybody else in
Oh,
my graduating class. So I feel like I got that going for me.
My girlfriend never got into West Wing, and I'm always talking about West Wing. And one day when I'm going through the reruns, I caught up to the episode where she's born December 21st, 1954. Toby Ziegler was born on that day.
Oh, really?
And I said, you share a birthday of Toby Ziegler. And she says, who? I said, the guy on West Wing. And she's like, oh, not again.
Anytime I see him on anything at all, I can never remember his name because I just go, oh, Toby.
Yeah, Toby. I don't remember the actor's name. He was in the Pentagon Wars. You ever seen that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I love that show. I don't know how the Bradley was developed, but this apparently is Hollywood's idea of how it was developed, and it all made sense to me as someone who rode and drove and gunned in the Bradley. I'm like, wow, this is so realistic. I don't know if it's true or not, but it was very realistic how things didn't make sense. But usually the soldiers made it work for us.
He was in a movie that I can't remember the name of the movie. I can't remember much about it, but it was always a line that I liked. He played a Jewish guy who converted to Buddhism, and this wasn't the main point of the movie. Mm-hmm. It just was part of it. And the one guy said to him, "You're Jewish and you converted to Buddhism. How does that work?" And he says, "Well, you give up everything, but you keep the receipts." Anyway, did you finish your Wicked Game research?
Yeah. So that guy Rami Malek, the Wicked Game thing looks like that was his own. He was the writer of that apparently. So there may have been another version of it, but the Rami Malek that show was called Mr. Robot. It had Christian Slater in there was also played a big part of that. And,
yeah, I watched like a season of it, I think.
Yeah,
and then I didn't get back to it when it came back.
I didn't either. I mean, there were some other things. Was that on Prime? I think it was. Was that a Prime series?
Maybe. I think I probably did. I don't know if I had Prime at the time. I might have just been whoever's listening, totally legally downloading it.
There are some good series on Prime that I would recommend if you haven't seen the one with Billy Bob Thornton, where he's a lawyer.
I watched a season or so of that.
That is a good one right there. And Bosch, the one about the cop in Hollywood, and that's a great series, man. It reminded me a lot about myself because I spent a lot of years with a daughter, single parent and a daughter, a younger daughter, I mean, I was 37 years old when she was born. So,
oh wow.
But, anyway, so that, and then, but I'm going to say this, the best series I've ever seen on I don't watch a lot of TV. I pretty much only watch sports. I don't watch TV. But if I had to, I would do it again. Breaking Bad is the best freaking series of all time, man.
Yeah, that was
best
good.
Show ever.
I didn't get very far in that one, but Breaking Bad, the one I was thinking of about the lawyer was a spinoff of Breaking Bad. I wish I could
Better Call Saul.
Yes,
yeah.
That's it. Yes. He and his girlfriend saying that, saying something stupid like "I love you."
Yeah, that was equally as good too. Yeah.
See, now I never watched it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's the same. Whatever the guy that his name's Gilligan or something, but
I forget. Oh, Vince Gilligan, I think.
Yeah, Vince Gilligan. Yeah, he's the. I guess he is the. It's his big idea, I guess. But
didn't they also? I don't know if it went for. Did they try to spin off the guy who was sort of like the real badass guy. I think he
Grant-
worked for the Chicken Man.
El Torino or something.
Um,
Grant, I can't remember. Yeah, there was a couple spin-offs of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Actually, I never watched Breaking Bad, but maybe the 3 or 4 episodes. But after I was done, go ahead.
if you ever do, go to the first series or the first season and start from the beginning because
Yeah, that's definitely one that you want to start at the beginning.
yeah, if you ever have time, like I'm going to take 3, like maybe I don't know if you're recovering from an injury, so you got a lot of time to sit in front of the tube. That's a great time to binge watch that. You can. I did that, and I watched. I could watch 6, 7 episodes a day. Man, it's that good.
Yeah,
and I don't watch TV, so
I work from home, so in the midnight shift it's kind of slow. So I think I watched Boston Legal, and because I liked it, it recommended Suits. So I watched Suits, and because I liked it, it recommended Better Call Saul. And I'm like, Better Call Saul is nothing like Suits, but I guess it was about a lawyer.
Are you like me? Did you lose interest in Suits after Meghan Markle and the main character? After when they left, it just became sort of like a regular show.
It started to fizzle, yeah. The whole idea of the genius who could remember everything. Really
yeah. The one just the second season just finished on Prime, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was as good as the first season. I liked Reacher.
yeah, that was okay. I watched that too.
It definitely was a big improvement over Tom Cruise pretending he could be Reacher. Because if you read the books, Reacher was more like what's his name, Alan Ritchson, the guy that did the Prime series. That's what Reacher is supposed to look like.
He's a big dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't know how tall Tom Cruise is, but I think he's about I don't know 5'6" or something. If that guy weighs $150, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
I can accept guys like that playing those like he does the Mission Impossible, although I haven't watched all of those, but some of those kind of shows where he's got ninja skills or whatever, you know what I mean? But when he's trying to play a character that's all about being 6'4", 260 pounds of muscle, it's like, no, it's not the same thing.
You couldn't pull it off like Rocky or Rambo.
Yeah.
Which I understand Sylvester Stallone's a rather short guy, but
is he?
Because of his build, he can pull off the angles and look like a larger guy.
Yeah.
So I've heard. I've never seen him in person. I don't know. I've never met anybody famous except for Muckster.
Yeah. Well,
I'll tell you something about Sylvester Stallone that I like. I don't know if you saw Tulsa King. It's a new series he did. The first season's done. I'm waiting for but it's about a mafia guy from New York who just got out of prison after like 20 years or something. And he thinks he's going to get back into life as it was. And they go, oh, hey, we got a great idea. We're going to send you out to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And basically he goes out there and he starts but the thing I liked about it, the very first episode, I think it was, he hooks up with this woman in a bar and they go back to his place. And the next morning she says, well, just how old are you? And he said, 72. And she was like, oh my God. And I thought, how great that he's playing his age. It drives me nuts when you'll see like Al Pacino, and for some reason we're supposed to believe some 22-year-old fell in love with him, in a diner without knowing that he's Al Pacino and has $20 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just
that don't happen. Yeah.
No, not very often.
No, I mean,
I loved Top Gun and I loved Maverick. Great plots, but I can't get my head around literally 30 years and only being a captain. I don't know what kind of QMP system the Navy has, but that just doesn't seem really feasible. But
Yeah,
it was still fun shows to watch.
they kind of tried to cover that by basically implying that Iceman had, kept covering for him
Yeah,
and stuff,
covered. Okay.
Mm.
because wasn't Iceman by then he was like a 2-star admiral or something.
Yeah.
He was up there. Yeah. I think I saw. You know what? I watched about the first hour of that show, and then I was like, "This is too cheesy. I can't stand it." It's just it's just so. That's the only word I got for it. It's cheesy.
If it's done right, I like cheesy.
I think my attraction was nostalgic because I watched the original Top Gun when I was in the Navy, and it was almost required watching for sailors. It was just
Yeah.
all
Oh
around.
yeah, I guess so. If you were in the Navy, yeah.
So for the next 30 years, rumors of a sequel, like, yeah, I gotta watch it. So I was so pumped up by the time it came out. I watched it and I enjoyed it.
I imagine between that and Officer and a Gentleman, that was great recruiting for the Navy avionics.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, what do you think about Jesse Ventura?
I
He was a Navy SEAL and the governor of Minnesota and the pro wrestler and
I knew the last two. I didn't know he was a
conspiracy theorist and all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
but I mean, he was a Navy SEAL, so you gotta respect that. So
and he had no time to bleed.
And I did see that. That was in Predator. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a line that he had in Predator.
Oh, okay. I was like, where did I hear that? Okay.
Yep. I ain't got time to bleed.
I went to that jungle. That is in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Oh, is that where they filmed
that? Was filmed, yeah. Didn't know it when I went there, but I found out while I was there. This is where they did this. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I once visited where they filmed Romper Room. At least that's what I thought when I was 3 years old, because Miss Patty used to look at me in her mirror.
Oh, she called you out.
Actually, she pissed me off.
Oh.
I would sit there every damn day and she'd be going, I see Andy and I see Matthew. And I'm like going, bitch, I'm right here. And she never saw Danny. That's why I switched to Captain Kangaroo.
Oh, okay.
Damn. Captain Kangaroo. Now, wasn't that guy a badass in real life?
I think that was another one of those fake stories.
Was that not true? Yeah.
I think he actually served, but there was a story that supposedly something he had saved Lee Marvin's life or something like that. I think that was like a made up thing. I think he served, but they said stuff about him that wasn't true. Because I have to, because I know, they used to say Mr. Rogers was like a Marine sniper or something, and that was totally made up. He never even was in. But yeah, I think when I saw Bob Keeshan, I think he did serve, but the stories they put about him, they said there's no way the stuff lined up right. I'd have to look and see.
Mm-hmm.
An actor that I didn't know until I saw it just a couple years ago. Do you remember Glenn Ford?
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of like Westerns and stuff like that. He's one of those ones, if you saw the picture, you'd go, oh, okay, I know that guy.
I kind of vaguely know the name.
He
the Sheepman. Okay.
He just learned like a few years ago when I was looking at something in IMDb, I think it was, and he was in World War II, and then afterwards he joined like the French Foreign Legion and was in Vietnam and stuff. He was sort of a legitimate badass.
Did he do some like Gunsmoke or something like that? Maybe.
I just Googled him. He was in Superman the movie, not as Superman, but
like the first one, huh? Like in the 50s or something.
Well, I was going to say, like, if you look in like the 50s and 60s, I think he was in like a lot of Westerns and stuff then.
Cowboy, 1958. The Sheepman, 1958.
Wow. So yeah, he was before my time, but they're saying here that he was what they called a leading man in Hollywood back in the day. So
Yeah, I think I might be mixing him up with William Holden because I'm trying to think he might have been the one who did the movie Courtship of Eddie's Father. So he also played like romantic leads in that too.
Let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the flowers. Is that the one? William Holden. We're Paramount. Holden was George Rosh,
William
Billboard,
Holden.
Golden Boy. I don't
Well,
know.
I know Glenn Ford is the one that was in the Foreign Legion, but I might be mixing up what movies those two were in.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's see here. It says he was in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Let's see, what did he do? I don't know. I mean, he kind of looks familiar, but
Yeah.
Well, see, I am. You say you never watch TV. I used to
well,
be able to tell you what was on TV any night of the week. You'd say, you go 9 o'clock ABC, and I'd say, oh, that's this show. It's like,
That was when
yeah,
there were
well,
3 channels, right?
yeah,
there
well,
was
that
probably
too.
a time in my life where I watched that much TV, but and obviously I've watched some of them shows that y'all, that we've talked about. I think I did see some of the Tulsa. I looked at some of that. Probably
It's
not the
it
whole season.
it's one. If you go back and look, I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty well done. And like I think one of Ed Stallone is still like a bit of a badass in it, but he kind of reminds you of when Clint Eastwood did Gran Torino.
Yeah, yeah,
It was like he was a badass, but he was also an old man. It was kind of like you could every once in a while you'll meet an old man like that who
yeah,
can still.
yeah. I love that line where he walks up and says, "You ever meet a guy that or what's he say? You ever run across a guy that you wish you wouldn't have pissed off or something like
Oh,
that?"
yeah.
Something, and he goes, "That's me." Yeah, yeah. I like Clint Eastwood, man.
Get off my lawn.
Hey, supposedly we have one watcher right now. If somebody wants to come in,
Come
nope,
on
they
in.
just it went to zero again just as quick.
Oh,
People
that
must
like
people
man.
must like click in just to see like
Well,
if they might like be looking for somebody in particular. It's like, oh, let me see. Maybe Ben will be in there. I see Finkel's picture or something.
so they aired the Tucker Carlson and the Russian, what's his name?
Putin?
They aired that today, and I looked at about half an hour of it, and I figure the media is going to spin that as what's his name, Putin. They're
Yeah.
going to spin him as an aggressive asshole, and maybe he is, but I don't know. I think he's willing to go to the table and talk about everything and quit. Let's quit killing everybody. But it's kind of what.
Well, well, he probably wants to. He figures he'll do a deal now, like one of those. Now that I've taken this territory, let's make peace and say we'll just stop where we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to want to give up what he has. Yeah, I think he's feeling left out or something. Like the whole world community is, y'all are not inviting me. How come I didn't get invited?
Well, he can
Well,
get back in the in crowd and save money and save lives. All he's got to do is pull back into Russia.
Yeah,
Russia's big problem is if they weren't sitting on a whole bunch of oil, nobody would care about them at all anymore. Oil and natural gas, because they can cut off the supply to Europe real quick. So that's one reason, between that and the nuclear weapons, that's the only reason people listen to them anymore.
Yeah, I heard they have an economy about the size of Italy.
Yeah.
That's interesting because their landmass sits on about 60% of the world's natural resources.
Yeah, their population is pretty low, though,
Yeah.
compared to their size.
Yeah, Siberia is pretty empty, kind of like Osceola, Pennsylvania.
True.
Nobody wants to be out there. 143 million people in Russia.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Doing the landmass, that's not a lot of people.
Not really, huh?
because they're probably more square miles than America, right?
Oh yeah, they got all of Siberia, Kamchatka, both
Yeah.
sides of the Urals.
Kamchatka. That was the land I always wanted to have in games of Risk.
Oh yeah, that was that was a good strategic that
was-
in Alaska. Yeah,
Yeah, that was the bridge between the two continents.
you're a Risk player, or at least were. Yeah. I grew up on Risk. It's funny,
Oh,
my
yeah.
my uncle Archie taught my brother and I how to play Risk, and this is one of my earliest childhood memories. We're setting up where we each get the territories, and I was like, "Yeah, I got Eastern and Western U.S. We've never lost a war." And Uncle Archie kind of looked real sad. He says, "Except Vietnam." I'm like, "What's Vietnam?" Oh. Apparently, Uncle Archie was a Vietnam veteran. I'm too young for me to know.
You know, are you a veteran, Jim?
I'm not, no.
I was telling my brother today what my cousin told me the one time, and I don't know if you were in that panel the other. We were talking some about vets and saying how, in general, the ones who talked the most about all the great things they did in battle and stuff weren't actually there. But anyway, my cousin was a Marine in Vietnam, and he told me the one time that this stuck with me because I thought it was really. He said that he knew he was going to die there. It wasn't, I don't think I'm going to live. It wasn't, I could get killed. He just knew he was going to die. So he said when he actually came home, he had no idea how to deal with civilized life. He said he was screwed up for a number of years just because of that, because he just was totally adrift. The world didn't make sense to him.
It wasn't in the plan to come home. Wow.
Yeah.
I have a cousin that was in the Navy and went to Vietnam and survived 2 tours.
Yeah.
And came back and then drove a Corvair off the cliff on the east coast, west coast highway over there. Yeah.
Well, that I was thinking the one time sitting in my family. Now I don't know a lot about the ones way back, but I do know that like one branch of my family was actually here before we were a country, but most of them came along later. But anyway, my father's father was a retired major, and I think he was in World War I. My father was World War II. My mother had, I think, 3 brothers in World War II, another brother in Korea, and I had a lot of first cousins in Nam. And I realized one day we never lost anybody. I mean, what's the odds of as many people that in my family that served in combat, not just in the military, never had any of them killed. My one uncle, I might have told you about this before. My one uncle was in the Marines before Pearl Harbor, and he was stationed on Wake Island. And when you tell a Marine that, they right off know the story because it's still part of their history. But Wake Island is basically Japan's next stop after they left Pearl Harbor. And it was this little island that they were still trying to build up the defenses on and stuff. And I won't go through the whole thing. There was a book on it, but they basically, by all rights, the Japanese should have came in there and owned the island in one day. And this bunch of Marines that had like a couple of old rickety planes and artillery that they did not even have the sights for yet. They had to sight down the barrels like shooting a rifle. They held off the Japanese Navy for like 2 weeks. And then, but my uncle then, he spent the entire rest of the war as a guest of the Japanese, you know, but, and I always think even he survived because a lot of guys couldn't have survived. So I just always thought it was weird that, how could it be that my whole family, nobody was ever killed in combat? Now, my dad, he was in World War II, but he always said that, I know I told Finkel this one time, he said the most action he used to see, he was, I think, on a destroyer down in the Caribbean, and they used to shoot at the water with the 50 cals to chase away the barracudas so they could go swimming.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That, and he also said he was in the Second Battle of New London, which I guess some guys from the Army insulted somebody from the Navy, and it was quite the problem.
Yeah.
But
I was, when you were talking, I was remembering a story my father told me, and it includes me all the way up to the first Persian Gulf War. I have a family member on my dad's side, through me and my brother, who served in every American conflict since World War I up to the first Gulf War, and none of us ever saw combat. I'm like, that's pretty amazing. It's not really a bragging thing, but it's kind of a fun fact. No Finkel's ever seen combat.
You know, I know you said you saw what was the one again with Mel Gibson with Vietnam?
We Were Soldiers.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was part of the movie or if it was part of the extras. In the movie, did the guy, I think it was the reporter, told the story about how his parents met. It was because it was like the one lost his left leg, the other lost his right foot or whatever. And so and I saw in the thing that was actually taken from true story.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good story. I like that one.
We might have one watcher again if somebody wants to come in.
Get in here.
Up, it went to 0 again.
Oh, keeps carrying away. Maybe if I leave.
I was just about to tell them you don't have to have a white beard.
You have to what?
Don't have to have a white beard.
A white beard or a camera for that matter. Just a microphone.
Yeah.
10:11 p.m. Why did I do this to myself? I got the night shift. I'm going to have to log off by 10:45.
Well, we're just coming. Haven't hit an hour and a half yet.
Still, I bet if all three of us talk at the same time, it's still quieter than that last place we were at. Oh, my God.
Oh.
My head's still pounding from that.
Yeah, I can't take it when it's like that. I think it was like about the second time I thought I was going to bed this morning, which I started going to bed at like 5, and I ended up going to bed at 10:30. But the second time I had looked at Eli's, and I saw where it said that, you know, like when it'll say how long the stream's been running, and it said like 12 hours, and I know he always cuts it off at 12. And I like went in and I went, "Are you guys watching the clock?" And so then they switched to another stream.
Oh, okay.
But
I think that's how some of them get away with some of the stuff they present, is because it's kind of hard for the censors to go through 12 hours of mostly nonsense.
If somebody wants to join us, all you need is a microphone. Come on in. We hardly bite.
Or give us a one in the chat if you don't want to.
Yeah, you can always just heckle us from chat.
Yeah. Troll us. Come on and troll us. See if you can trigger us.
Yeah, it went to 0
It's a trigger
again.
challenge. Go ahead and try and trigger us.
I don't know if I told you, Hank, the other day when you were having one, I went and sniped you for a while.
You sniped me?
Isn't that what it's called when you share the?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I might have told you. I can't remember now, but I was sharing it online just to see if anybody else might
My
get
live
their
stream's
attention.
set up so that if you join, you can click a button and it reshares on wherever your live stream goes, your
That-
Facebook or YouTube or wherever.
That's right. I remember now. It did have that button up there, like right now. Well, of course,
Oh,
it wouldn't show it to me anyway.
So
But,
you must be paying for the upgraded version, huh? To have that? Is that
Yeah, it was $220 for a year.
is it really?
Yeah,
I like the free one.
that's why I'm on so much, is to make it worth it to me.
I hear you.
I was
Yeah,
telling him yesterday. I had looked at the pricing thing out of curiosity, because you're allowed with the paid version. You're allowed up to 10 people, and I saw where it said you can pay and have 12 people. And I looked just to see what it was, and I forget. I know I told you. Did I say it was $10 or $20 a month more? I think $20.
Yeah,
Just had two more people.
more.
Totally not worth it.
and quite frankly, we both just saw what it's like when 10 people are on. It's just chaos. It's just too much.
So doesn't the host of the or whoever starts it, I guess I'm gonna call that person the host. Don't they have
Yeah.
the ability to mute everyone
Yeah,
so that they can say, all right, every one person at a time, put your hand up when you want to talk, and I mean, you could do all that, I guess, but
yeah.
you're muted now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did it. I did
Muckster
it.
just got me.
Did you?
You can boot people and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah,
that too.
okay.
The place that Muckster and I just came from, well, actually an hour and a half ago, the host, he sets it up and allows people to join, and then he goes away. He doesn't moderate it. He just have at it, guys. Freedom of speech, and they really go overboard with the freedom of speech thing.
The thing I have said about it is, and I caught a bunch of flack from people over there when I repeated it there yesterday, the day before, because I think they purposely misinterpret things. I said the great thing about Eli's podcast is he allows everybody in. But the bad thing about Eli's podcast is he allows everybody in. And I mean, I do like the place, and I think it's great what he's doing, but there's no way I could ever do it. If that guy that Finkel was just dealing with, if he came in here, he'd last about 2 minutes and I'd be giving him the boot. Now, one thing I have learned though from watching Eli, I've become a little more patient or forgiving. If I did have somebody like that, I wouldn't say you're gone forever. I'd say, look, you're out of here. You're out of here. If you come back tomorrow with a different attitude, maybe we'll let you stay around. You know what I mean? But yeah, I wouldn't. And maybe it's partly age that makes us a little less.
I like his
tolerant.
intention. Give everyone a chance to talk, but when everyone's getting a chance to talk, no one can hear anything. Take turns, guys.
Is there an app that we can all make ourselves look like young, good-looking women?
Well,
Because that might get more viewers if we could do that.
Well, I'll tell you a smart thing that Eli does.
Mhm.
Like when you were joining here and you put in, and then I have to click you in.
Yeah.
What he does is if you come in, if you're back there like this,
Yeah.
they make you reveal yourself backstage before they let you in.
Yeah.
That way they don't get, the purposeful trolls and that. Now they might come like I just did while you were there. I came in with a fake name and that because I was messing with the one guy on there that I'm friends with. He was going under. He's called himself Dr. Akak today, so I came in as the real Dr. Akak. But backstage, I showed them it was me, and I've been going there long enough now that they didn't have to know my name. They recognized me. But yeah, so that's a smart thing he does because that keeps out the porn bombers and stuff like that.
Yeah. To your question earlier, I don't know how they do it, but I have seen people where they replace their live image with a moving avatar.
Yes, I have
And
seen
they
that too.
turn their head, and when their mouth moves, it moves along with them.
Yes.
And some of them are like anime Japanese girls or whatever. A couple of them are guys too, but
I don't know. That'd make us kind of weird though if we were doing that though. I don't know.
yeah, it gets a little creepy after a while. Like, come on, let's see the human person, or at least do this. Yeah.
And how do you get that picture when you stop cam? How do you do that?
Over where your picture is, the little insert with you,
Yeah.
click on those 3 dots.
Oh, okay. Is that where that is?
And that's where you can
Edit
actually upload your
audio
own.
avatar. Oh,
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know where to do that. Now I can go back to my old.
Okay, so I can
Yeah.
go find a suitable photo.
Yeah, like I have, let me see, one, depending on what I'm doing,
That's awful.
I have this one that's just, oh, I gotta hit stop first. I hit this one that is me, it's just, I can be sitting here eating or picking my nose and stuff without people seeing me.
There we go.
Yeah, like
Oh,
that.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Did you kick me
Yeah.
off stage?
No, you must have clicked something wrong because that's why I let you sit there for a second because I didn't know if you were doing something.
Give me a little time out.
But I have a bunch of them now that depending on the situation. Like, well, here's one. This is one of the guys from over there.
Oh.
So I'll sometimes when he comes in, I'll put that up just to mess with him. But yeah, you can upload pretty much anything.
Oh, so it'll let you load a few of them in there, so you can bounce them around too, huh?
This is, of course, is one of my favorites.
I can see I can change my name live. Okay, I thought I had to log off, change my name, and log back on. Now I can change my name. Okay, well, thanks for pointing that out.
Let me
There we go. Yeah.
let me check something here. I don't know what I get if I click on now. If I click on your 3 dots, I get edit. I can edit your name.
Oh, really? Call
Edit
me
mic.
or...
I can edit mic settings. I can kick from studio and I can ban from studio.
Well, you should have all that as host. But
Well, yeah, that's I had just never looked at it before, but that's yeah.
Okay.
That was me about 20 years ago, I guess.
I'm gonna click on mic settings. Just I'm not gonna do anything, but just to see what it. Oh, okay. I go on mic settings. I see you already have echo cancellation, and I can click the reduce mic background noise and automatically adjust volume. So I guess if you have somebody that has an annoying TV in the background or something, you can try to get rid of it that way.
All right.
I'll have to, next time I'm on yours, I'll have to see what controls I have over there since you made me a team member.
What happens if I touch up my appearance?
Won't do much good for us, but you could go for it.
Any difference? Hey, I look younger, except for the gray beard.
I remember I hit mine the one day and I couldn't really see what it was doing. It seemed like it changed the tone a little bit, but
There's my wrinkles. Okay. The bag's under my eyes. All right.
come one, come all.
We got any viewers? We got any voyeurs?
Well, it's said one now for like a couple minutes straight. So
You want me to do a sexy dance? Will you join us if I do a sexy dance?
oh, it just went to 0.
I'm gonna have to drop off so I get a little personal time before I go to work.
If somebody wants to replace him, come on in. We'll even accept VIPs.
That's a good beard there.
That is a good one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was. I really didn't want well, I was going to let it go and see how far I could get that thing to go. But man, I tell you what, I kind of like it just kind of trim, man. I guess that's what I can live with. I never had a beard until probably 5 years ago.
I've noticed lately, well, I don't know if it's lately, maybe just because of unused, how many guys have those like long straggly hair beards, like those like Duck Dynasty beards.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah.
That was actually in fashion there for a bit. I'm like, really? Okay.
The ZZ
Well, so
Top beard.
Oh yeah, well they make it look good. I always loved with ZZ Top, the one guy without a beard, his last name is Beard.
Yep.
Jim, also, what if you don't know about down there where the settings button, that's where you can mess with your background. Like we
Yeah,
both
right.
have ours on blur right now, and you can upload other, like that. Yeah, you can upload. So it's like there's a couple already back there. Like there's that one with the piano living room that would suit you good. Like if you don't want if you don't want people seeing your actual house or whatever, you can always do that.
Yeah. Let's try this one here. See what that one didn't. There we go.
Oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, I just don't like how
That
the blur
bleeding thing.
happens. I don't
Yeah,
have
I
a green
know.
screen. If I had a green screen, that would work better.
Well, Finkel said didn't you say you tried green screen? It didn't seem to help you much.
It didn't?
I think I was using it wrong. It's got to be real smooth and it's got to be placed just right. And it's got to have good lighting.
Okay.
I got mad at it and threw it in the corner. It's still sitting in the corner, which is why I use a fake background. I'm in a very messy room.
Yeah, I did. I had a job from home where I had we used Zoom for a while, and then we used Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, we're using Teams now.
And
oh, it disappeared.
I don't know. I actually worked at a call center for a little while, and that was
Oh, those people are annoying.
I can't do that. I got mad too many times. I just can't handle people calling me and calling me out and telling me how sorry of a motherfucker I am and shit. Like I didn't do it, man. I don't know.
I worked for a help desk, and we call ourselves user support. And there was a really bad network day, and the call queue was like 20 deep all day long. And people were waiting forever to get through. And then I answered one call. And what it was is there'd be a whole room full of people, each of them on a phone trying to get through to us. And I'm thinking, why don't you guys just have one person call and represent all of you? But when I answered, the lady says, "Hey, I got loser support on." I said, "Ma'am, we don't support losers. We support users." Shut right up. I enjoyed that job. I didn't enjoy the part where they were abusive, but I enjoyed the part where I could change their day if I could help them out. And they'd call so frustrated. And if I get them just to shut up, reboot, and now hang up.
Yeah, you know what made that job that I did difficult was the company was so. You got to shorten your time. You don't put them on hold that long. You got too much time in between calls. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they're just.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I tried to tell them, look, I'm old and slow, man. But I tell you what, I'll give you this. I'm accurate and thorough. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good trade? I think it is. If it's not, then fire me.
One of the stupider call center stories I heard, I've never worked at one, but a good friend of mine, she's been doing it for quite a while for different companies. And she was starting at a new place. And when she went there, her supervisor, she had, gauges, those earrings with the big hole in them, which I don't like them, but I don't have to look at them, Anyway, she had black ones. And he told her that she would have to start wearing like flesh colored ones because they looked unprofessional. And it's a call center. The customers never see you,
Yeah.
You could be sitting there naked as far as the customers are concerned.
Yeah.
I I kind of think, well, in fact, I think she said it too. I think she looked too gay for him, because she is a lesbian. And I think he
Yeah.
looked at her and thought lesbian. And that was like something that he could say without getting called to HR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I worked a lot of years as a safety professional in industrial construction, and I was a painter and sandblaster when I came out of high school. Just because I needed a job, and that's what I ended up doing. But didn't love it, so I started going to school and never finished school, but worked for 30 years, for multiple contractors and pretty much all of the facilities. You got refineries and chemical plants up and down the Houston Ship Channel out here, all the way down to Corpus Christi, into Louisiana, Beaumont, all those areas. So there's just so many of them, and I've been in almost all of them at some time or another. Big jobs, little jobs. We did construction jobs, maintenance jobs, big turnarounds. I worked for several companies where we went out and we'd have cranes that it'd take 2 weeks to build the crane, and the huge cranes with 400 foot of stick, that could lift stupid amounts of weight, and I don't know if you ever saw what was that in I think it was in, don't remember. A crane fell over when they were putting a roof on a baseball stadium back about 25 years ago. And I want to say, what was that at? I don't remember, but it was a Lamson crane. It was a crane that they only have like 3 or 4 of them in the world. And I worked on a job with one of those, and big time, big operations, big $1 billion, 12 hours a day, day and night, So I'm still trying to. I've actually been trying to find a job like that again, but I burned too many bridges, man.
Yeah.
Hey Jim, every now and then, with the red background, when you turn your head just right, your one glass lens becomes a big red eye.
Is that right?
Kind of cool looking. It's like a science fiction movie.
I got a quick cute story for you when you were talking about cranes.
Yeah.
My niece that lives up in upstate New York, near kind of in the region of Finkel's old stomping grounds. She's got 4 kids, and they're young, 3 boys and then a girl. And when the girl was like 3, now the dad, he does a lot of like construction work. He flips houses and stuff, and he's got heavy equipment. But I love this. They had gone, Mary, my niece, had the kids, and they went to the store or something, and they had parked somewhere, and there's a excavator parked there. And little 3-year-old Ava looks at it and she goes, "That's not my dad's excavator." And I was like, how many 3-year-olds
Yeah.
Wow.
know what an excavator is?
Right.
And the difference between them,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's
they're doing a cool thing right now. They've been building their own house, and all the kids
Cool.
are totally involved in the construction. It's not just like, oh, well, here, you could carry this board for daddy. They all are like doing, like painting and hammering and stuff. I always just think that'll be so cool 50 years from now, when they're, instead of like, this is the house I grew up in, it's like, this is the house I helped build.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And all the lumber comes from their own property. And Finkel keeps wanting to say, I got to go. I got to go.
Yeah. I try to politely say I got to go.
Well, I hear you, and I'm with you.
All right.
Yeah. Well, Jim, as far as I'm concerned, you're welcome back to anything I'm ever doing.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Likewise.
Well, cool. You guys as well, man. I'll maybe I'll host one here pretty soon.
Cool.
All right.
Notice I didn't say the same thing to Finkel.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Well, I'm going to take my camera and go home.
I wonder how many people that would. I mean, do I have any followers that would bounce in there? I don't know. Should I call them followers? I don't think so. I'm gonna call them subs.
Yeah, that's what I go with. Followers sounds a little too cultish.
It kind of does, and I'm not a follower. And the reason I'm not a follower is because I haven't really found very many people that are worthy of being followed. So
Yeah,
I don't follow nobody really. You know, so there's just not very many people worthy of that. So, but you know, I guess I have maybe, but to my own detriment. You know. So.
I imagine like all three of us, our age difference isn't too big, so I think we might have like different politics and stuff, but I think some of our core belief was sort of formed by a lot of the same situations and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably so. I'm sure that if we kind of grew up around the same time, the stuff that you were being taught in school was just probably very similar to what I was being taught in school.
Yeah,
Just, you know,
and
and
everything you
and
saw on the news and all
yeah,
that.
right. Yeah, it formed our opinions, and you know, and I'm not so sure that um, well, I know that I've changed, you know, a lot of where I'm at on a lot of political things and belief systems, and you know what I think is going on and all that. But I wouldn't presume to you know come around and start pushing that on anybody. I mean, if that's what this channel was about, then I'd be down to get in that. But um, you know, there's some things
Well,
that I mean, there was a comment about what what do they call them? What's it called? I forget what they call them, but contrails, chemtrails, two different
oh
things.
yeah, yeah,
So I know that the CIA came out and actually did say that they have used that technique to, and that the reasoning that they gave is to combat global warming, which I'm not so sure that's. So I think that there's warming and cooling on the Earth, but I don't think that's a big deal. I think that's probably been happening as long as it's been here. So you know, it's got climate changes, environmental changes. It's been happening ever since it's been here. It happened before we were here, and it'll be happening when we're gone. You know, but whether or not human intervention is changing that is kind of the point of all that, I guess. But I don't know. I can kind of see both points of that. But you know, if the United States does all these things to try and reduce emissions or whatever, but all the other countries don't, are we really having any
it
effect? I
doesn't.
mean, the air that's over one place
Yeah.
is moving somewhere else by tomorrow. So I don't really. I mean, they say that all the water that's on the in the world is always the same amount. It's either it's in one of three. You know, it's either a gas, a solid, or a liquid. So it just changes. It moves around. That's about it. You know.
My
Um,
my thing on that is kind of like, I don't know if this is a stretch of a metaphor, but sort of like before I became full atheist or agnostic, I like to say, because I don't like to feel like I always have the definite answer. But anyway, when people would talk about evolution, I
yeah.
always thought evolution and religion could go together, because why not think that God put it in place for things to happen that way? You know what I mean? And and so I sort of have the same feeling about climate change. When people say it's cyclical and stuff, I think that I that could be true, but I think that also our actions are speeding it up or making this cycle more severe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see. I'm not sure I buy that though. Personally, I'm not sure I can buy that. I can't say that it wouldn't have any effect, but it seems like the Earth would laugh at us and say, I mean, what
Yeah.
about a volcano? Volcano eruptions and darkens the sun out for 10 years or something. I mean, that could happen. So um, yeah, I don't know. I know that they have done a lot because I worked in industry. The first time I walked into a chemical plant, refinery, either one of those, I mean, and that's two different things, but a lot of people don't know that. But it was around 1984, so maybe 83, something like that. But anyway, so the controls that they had in place have come a long way since then. They've put a lot of people, even people like Greenpeace. Greenpeace came out to my area one time, and they got a lot of media attention, and they were being interviewed. And some of the people that worked for Greenpeace that were in our area, they hijacked a bridge and hung banners, and it's a big suspension bridge that goes over the ship channel out here. And some of them were hanging off the side. And anyway, but some of the comments that they make, oh, look over there, you can see all that smoke coming out of them smokestacks. I don't even know what they're talking about. That's actually steam coming out of something called a scrubber. And the point of the scrubber is to reduce the emissions. What you're seeing is actually steam, it's not smoke. And so about 95% of the emissions have already been removed from what actually gets back out into the atmosphere. And they don't seem to know that stuff. I don't know why, but I do. And I just
Yeah.
know it because I work there. And but so, and they were talking about one time here about 20 years ago, they were talking about how much money it would cost to go after that final 5%, that it would cost like 10 times as much money to reduce that 5% than it costs to get the first 95% out.
Oh,
And that's like, is that really worth it? Is that really worth it? I don't know. Maybe it is. I mean, if in 10 years, I mean, how long ago was it that what was that guy's name? That VP said that we're all going to be dead in 10 years if we don't do this. And we didn't do
Al,
it, but we're not
Al
all dead.
Gore.
Yeah, yeah, an inconvenient truth.
Yeah.
So his forecasting turned out to not be correct, and so I think it's a lot of fear mongering. And by the way, how is me giving my money to them going to help that situation?
I hear.
That's where I'm at. But anyway, I'm always happy to have those types of conversations. I'm pretty opinionated on things, I guess. If I have an opinion, I'll be happy to give it.
Well, I'll tell you, I had slipped for a while, and I've gotten back to how I want to be. But for a while, I really fell into the pit when dealing with MAGA people. I won't say Republicans or conservatives, but the diehard Trump people, because I detested him so much. And I got to be one of those people that was like us and them. And I'm coming back to my roots now, because I keep saying I can remember growing up, and my parents, them and their group of friends, they used to get together every Saturday night, and they never got babysitters. The grown-ups, usually like the men were all in the kitchen. A lot of times the women would be like in the dining room and the kids would be in the living room, so everybody, but I can remember like my father and them, they could sit there drinking beer and arguing all kinds of politics, and whatever. And they could have heated, no, you're a goddamn idiot kind of arguments.
Yeah.
And at the end of the night, it was like, okay, see you next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean, they actually enjoy that shit, I guess.
yeah, and they let the other people have their views, even though they argued about them. And we just, and I don't blame it all on the MAGA era. I think it started. I can't remember the guy's name, but way back with Reagan, he had that one guy who kind of started a lot of the, you know, basically, and it just built over years of where they got away from disagreeing to where you just had to always be against what the other guy was for, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And so I kind of think that it came to a head with Trump because he is so polarizing.
He is, yeah.
It was almost like a perfect storm kind of thing. It was building and building, the way they was getting more, and then with him, it just, things just went to hell. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I personally have done my best to get back to where I can argue without hating people,
Right. Well, I'll tell you that I did not vote for Trump and I did not vote for Biden. I quit participating in the election process because I think it's stupid. Are you freaking kidding me? You're telling me that these two clowns are the best you got? Bullshit. I ain't buying that. So I'm not voting for the least evil or the lesser of two evils, as people
Yeah.
say, because if I do, I'm still voting for evil. So I'm not going to do that. So I quit participating. I think it's a rigged system. I don't believe that the system is. I mean, on maybe smaller local elections are still somewhat authentic, but aren't we just picking better masters to follow around? I mean, I don't really want a master. I kind of rather not have one than than have a better one than I have now.
I think a lot of times the best guy for the job is too smart to want the job.
Well, they're yeah. I mean, if they're smart, they're not going to want that job. I mean, yeah. I think out of the people who are running right now, actually this Kennedy sounds like makes the most sense. He speaks real, and he's actually, I think he'd probably be the best of whoever's available right now.
What I find interesting is how many people I talk to that are like our age and older that all say we need younger people.
Mm-hmm.
You would think, I mean, a lot of people like in their 70s and stuff are going, most of these guys are like 80 years old. That's too old. You'd think they'd be the ones going, no, you could still do plenty at that age. But yeah, I mean,
I mean, my parents, my father passed away at 74, and my mother passed away at 80. So, I see Biden, obviously he's lost a lot of motor control. He rambles on about shit all the time. He's not coherent. He's wandering around like he's lost and stuff. I mean, is anybody not seeing that? I'm seeing that. So, and I don't even really pay attention to it that much, but I mean, as I'm looking at Facebook, I see those little things as I scroll through, so.
I really think, well, at one point, Joe Biden said he planned to be a one-term president.
Yeah.
And I really think that the Democrats, they kind of sat back and realized they made a mistake, that Kamala Harris, I think, like her or not, I don't think she's electable. So Joe cannot step down because they know that she would get beat. I think if they had a stronger person, that as vice president, that he would probably, say, I want to spend the rest of my years with my family and I'm not going to run again. And my vice presidency. I think if they had a good candidate as vice president, he would maybe go. But they don't. They feel like if he gives up, if he would quit, that they'd have absolutely no chance against Trump.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Trump still gets a lot of support, even though all the things that we already know about him, and I guess people don't. I know, being in Texas, I know a lot of people who are diehard Trump supporters, and I'm like, and I've seen some of those. Like some of these people get triggered, man. They get triggered real easy. So there's trolls. I've seen there's YouTube channels where they trolls will go to Trump rallies and troll the ralliers and go over there and and say, yeah. There's one guy, they call him the professional douche. Have you seen him?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen that one.
Well, he goes in there and starts saying, "We're going to grab them by the pussy." I'm a Trumpster. I'm with them. And he starts. He pretends to be, with that group, but he's obviously not with that group. So he's trolling them, and they get so triggered, man. It's funny as hell,
I've seen a few of them. I like when they'll go and they'll like ask them questions, and when they try to talk any kind of logic with them, they just can't. They just fall back because, to me, his diehard people, it's like a religion. They know what they believe and they don't want anybody to challenge it.
Yeah.
I've said before, I feel the difference between and I don't like generalizing, but I hate to keep saying, but not all of them. But anyway, the far right people, the difference between them and the people on the left, I feel like the left is usually more able to accept the faults of their people. Like, people on the left could say, I like Obama, but I disagreed with him on this. But those people that are down like in that MAGA range, no matter what Trump does, they cannot accept that anything he does is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like this. They will tell you, we're all about freedom. We're all about the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, but then you tell them something that goes against their belief, and they don't want you to be able to say have your freedom. They want to have their freedom as long as it agrees with what they believe. But if you say anything like anything that goes against their belief system, then they don't want you to be able to have your freedom. And it's like, dude, do you not understand that that's what this is for? This is to protect unpopular speech, shit that people don't like, shit that you don't like, you don't like it, it offends you. That's why we have it, to protect that speech, dude. That's what it's for,
I've said often that those people believe that freedom of religion means you are free to be a Christian.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech means you are free to say what I agree with. There's a guy I've seen a couple times on videos. He'll go out and he's basically an auditor, but he has maybe you've seen him. He has one of those great big blow up things like they put in front of a used car thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He has that, and he has a big "fuck Biden" sign.
Yes,
and he'll go out there, and people will stop and yell him, and people will call the cops on him. And a couple of times I've commented to him, and I've said, man, I said, I don't agree with what you're saying, and I don't agree with your method.
Excuse me.
But if I was there, I would stand up for your right to say it, know?
Yeah. And I see. I can easily say, "Fuck Biden" and "fuck Trump." How about that? I can say both of that. I
Mhm.
want I want my gay neighbors to be able to have guns and protect their marijuana plants. You
Yeah.
know. So did I
Yeah.
piss everybody off? I hope so. You know.
You know something I always remember about like freedom of speech. I remember back in the 70s, maybe the 80s. The I think it was the KKK or it was a neo-Nazi group, but I'm thinking the KKK planned a march in I can't think of the name now, in Illinois. It was like a Chicago suburb that was pretty much 80% Jewish.
Wow.
So of course they were trying to keep them. And you know who defended the KKK was the ACLU, who 80% of their funding came from Jewish people.
Yeah.
But they said this is what it's supposed to mean is defending the rights of people you don't agree with. The only way you can defend your own rights is to make sure that they have their right.
That's right. Because if they lose theirs, you're in line to lose yours also. The
Well, of
rights
course,
that you're taking away from them are also yours. Right.
I'm sure you know the old, and I forget exactly the way that guy said it, but you know the old saying of first they came for the Jews and I wasn't a Jew, so I didn't,
Yep, yep. Then they came for the blacks, and I wasn't
Mhm.
one of them. And then they came for the gays, and I wasn't one of them. And then there wasn't nobody left. Right? Yeah,
Yep. Then they came for me and there was nobody left to stand up. Yep.
yeah,
And it just there's so many people that just can't accept that. Of course, now here's the other thing that drives me nuts too, because I have always been a fan of the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights and stuff. And it drives me nuts that so many people that are supposed to be high school graduates don't even know the basics of the parts of government. But that's beside the point.
yeah.
I forget the point I was going to make now that people don't really understand the freedom of speech either. You'll see them yelling about like Facebook and stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
Facebook censored or YouTube
Yeah.
censored. What about freedom of speech? And it's like,
Yeah.
no, that only has to do with the
Yeah.
government forcing you.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't
It's
have
a,
nothing to do with Facebook. Is a private company,
yeah,
so you don't get free speech on
it's
that platform. They can have any rules they want.
it's basically I always think of it, it's the same as if you came to visit me and you're sitting in my living room and you said, I hate fags. And I say, if you're going to talk like that, get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you're in my place now. You don't have freedom of speech.
Right.
You have the freedom to leave.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah. It depends on where you're at. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's really about government oppression. That's what it is about. Yeah. It's
Now, on
about
the other
government
hand,
oppression. So yeah.
on the other hand, if you're Jeff Gray standing in front of town hall, the government can't tell you to stop saying honor our vets.
Boy, they do it though.
I know.
They do it all the time.
I love
He
to.
did pretty well in was it Tennessee? Tennessee did pretty well when he went through there. But man, Alabama and Mississippi, those are good Lord, man, they do. How about that one? There was one where he said, "Well, we don't. It doesn't matter. We you don't get none of that freedom around here."
Yeah. My favorite, just for it being so ridiculous, was he was protesting, and I forget now. It was, of course, in the South, Georgia, Mississippi, but in front of the Civil Rights Museum.
Yes.
He was holding it, and they came and chased him away from the Civil Rights
Yes.
Museum.
No civil rights on the Civil Rights Museum. Yeah, the square that was outside that museum, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought it even added to the irony of it that it was a black cop that did it.
Yeah.
Isn't
that crazy? I mean, see, I'm going to tell that guy if I'm him, do you know about the civil rights movement that I think it was Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1964, which I don't like LBJ at all. I don't know. I mean, that's going to get into another conspiracy theory, but I think he played a part in that whole JFK thing.
I know a lot of people have always said that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't go either way on it because I have no knowledge. But yeah, I know, especially for it happening in Texas.
It happened in Texas, and so there was a meeting that they had at a rich oil guy's house the night before that happened, and he had a secretary that I think he had an affair with that he would say things to her because he felt safe saying it to her, but she was interviewed later before she passed away. And, some of the things that she revealed in that interview would, I mean, he definitely knew what was going on. So,
It is funny though, like when you mention him, everybody always talks about JFK,
yeah.
and with the civil rights and stuff, and it actually most of the progress did come from LBJ. Yeah, I was going dyslexic there for a second. Most of it came during his administration. I think, was it LBJ that nationalized the National Guard in to let the kids into the school?
That one I don't know. I do know that he did. The Civil Rights Act came into effect in '64 while he was president. So I don't. But as far as the National Guard, I don't know that one.
I think it was. That's. You ever watch Forrest Gump?
Yep.
You know how they inserted him into that with the kids going into the high school.
Yes.
And that was the real incident there. It started at the first day. I think it was Alabama or Mississippi. Anyway, the first day the kids went there, the governor had called out the National Guard and blocked them from going in. And the next day, I'm pretty sure it was LBJ. It must probably because that's who Forrest Gump meets later on.
He meets him.
Remember, he shows him his ass. The next day, LBJ nationalized the National Guard, federalized them, whatever. And so then they were there to protect the kids going in,
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, it does seem and of course, LBJ. Of course, I was too young to really know a lot about him, but it always seemed like I think of, like I've said a couple times about our last few presidents, the way I look at it, it's like, let's say, like Clinton.
Yeah.
I agreed with him a lot on politics, but I don't think of him as much as a man, George W., I disagreed with him a lot on politics, but I think he's actually a fairly good human being. And I think a lot of times, even the stuff I disagreed with, he thought he was trying to do what he thought was best, And then Obama, for me, was like the best of both worlds. I agreed with most of his politics. And I also thought he was a good human being, And then we had Trump that I think was the worst of both, But that's kind of like with LBJ, kind of the same thing. I don't think he's the kind of guy I would ever want sitting at my kitchen table, but a lot of good things came about during his administration.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of things, a lot of good. I guess those turned out to be. I mean, I'm pretty happy that we have civil rights. I'm not so sure that The fact that they're so easily taken away from us, I think, is evidence that they're not really protected. It seems as though police, which I'll call the armed agents of the ruling class, because that's what they are, uh, they spend their efforts trying to take those rights away from us
Yeah.
instead of protecting them, which is what everyone, the auditors always say, did you swear an oath and all that? Well, oaths are that's a whole nother thing. I mean, taking oaths is a whole nother thing. I don't want to take no oaths. I'll take an affirmation, but I'm not taking an oath.
That's like the whole idea of swearing an oath. That's kind of, I think it's romanticized. I don't know if maybe back in the Middle Ages, like, knights, when they would swear to whatever they'd swear about, that they actually believed in it, or like the samurai in Japan, that they actually, it was like do or die for their leader or whatever. But like now, people, do you swear? Yeah, I do. And people don't really think about it, about the only thing people take serious about it is they know that if you get caught committing perjury in court, you can get in trouble. But other than that, swearing to defend the Constitution, people, but there's no
I don't think
penalty.
it's kind of like standing up and saying the Pledge of Allegiance when we were kids. We just do it. We don't really think about it,
That's something that I have actually stopped doing. If I go to, and I don't go to stuff much anymore. I used to be a bit of a radical about holding the local government and that to account. But when they start meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance, I don't stand up anymore. And if anybody asks me, I say I do not believe in a forced loyalty oath.
I don't either.
Because to me, it's the kind of thing, if you were watching a documentary or whatever about like North Korea, and they'd show school kids standing there,
we look like freaking idiots, slaves.
Yeah,
man. That's what we look like.
Yep, they're swearing to the dear leader, and people don't think we do the same thing.
We do that. We do the same thing, and I was indoctrinated with that in school. But as I got old enough to, think that through, and I wouldn't pledge allegiance to any corrupt government, not this one either.
Yeah, the first couple of years that I was in school, we still started the day with the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah, we did that too. Yeah,
I remember even that, and I mean, where I live, especially back then, everybody was a white Christian,
Yeah.
But even that caused problems because I can remember kids fighting over the way the prayer ends. Because, Catholics do not say, for the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours forever and ever. And so, no.
I'm not,
so
I don't know what the
Catholics would stop right before that part.
Oh.
And then there'd be other kids going, you don't know the prayer right, So it's like even between two Christians, it would cause problems.
Well, so that prayer is actually in the Bible, in the King James Bible.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
So I think that part is in there. I mean, at least the part that's in the one that I come from a white Protestant background, and a Baptist, but also a few other denominations that are very similar, not the Holy Rollers, but the Nazarene Church, and so that's where I grew up in that. My mother would make me and my brother go to church even when they didn't go, but she took us most of the time. But even there was a time where she didn't feel like going, so she put us on the bus and sent us to church, to Sunday school, and then we came home. We didn't go to the church. I guess it was, how are you going to keep a 7, 8-year-old kid, calm down to sit there for an hour listening to this guy, preach his sermon and stuff, but I mean, we were pretty well behaved, I guess, as kids go, more than ever now, generally. But anyway, I was going to get back to the oath thing. When they tell you, they you put your hand on
Yeah.
the Bible, and have you ever seen the George Carlin's little thing on this? What is the magic of this gesture?
Huh.
He questions this gesture, like, what the hell is all this about? What if I did it like that? Would it still matter? What if I didn't? If the Bible wasn't, what if the Bible was upside down? Would that matter? Yeah. What the hell is all this? Where does that come from? And he has this whole little, a little bit about that gesture, and it's pretty funny. If you ever, you can find it if you go Google it. You can find it. But
when you think about it, if I said to you, I tried to think of some kind of example, but it's like, I promise, that I will do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How is I swear on this Bible to do that? How is that any more powerful than just, if you can't take my word when I say I'll promise to do it, then my word is useless when I'm doing this too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've had to do that a couple of times. I was called as a witness in a courtroom one time, just once. But yeah, I guess I had to do it then.
The only formal time I can remember, I one time had to testify at a deposition, and I don't know if, I think we probably had to swear an oath when I was called for federal grand jury. I think we probably had to swear an oath at the beginning of that. I don't know exactly what.
Well, I really like George Carlin, man. I think that guy's hilarious.
Oh,
man.
yeah. Yeah, I used to love him.
Yeah. Yep. Well, all right, Muck. I'm going to get out of here, man.
Yep.
Talking with you.
Yeah, it's good to get to know you.
Yeah, man.
It's nice to have some, decent, friendly conversations.
Yeah, it's cool. How many, do you have any viewers? Anybody participating?
Every once in a while, I would see the thing flash one for a few minutes, or maybe there'd be 2 or 3 up there. But
I wonder if the one watching is, like, I'm looking at the YouTube, I'm watching it.
I know I think I had tested that before. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't count anybody that's on the panel at the time.
Okay. Well, so I'm going to close the YouTube and see if that goes away.
Well, see, mine is just saying 0 there right now.
Oh,
and my YouTube isn't even on there. So.
Yeah, well, all of this stuff is new to me, man. I really would like to learn to be a content, produce some content. I've been trying to. I learned how to share my screen, and well, I knew how to do it on Zoom. I just haven't. So what I have to do is, I'm not. I'm one of them guys that I've got to put something together that's worthwhile, and I feel like doing the live thing is a lot more challenging than, and I don't know how to edit. I don't even know what's the best software to use for editing. And
hey, there's Sable's music. She has a great channel.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but that's my thing. I'd like to learn how to do editing. If you want to come up and talk for a while, Sable, go for it. But I was giving you tips from here, do you know how long I've been doing this? About a week.
About a week, yeah.
Yeah. So if you just do what I did, I would go in there and I'd log in and I would just sit here by myself and I'd go and grab videos and bring them up and stuff like that. I plan on Sunday I'm going to do a thing with my family. Sort of
Yeah.
we're all going to sit around and talk about my mother.
Uh-huh.
And so I figured out just yesterday playing around how an easy way to do photographs. So like as we're talking, I can bring up photos.
Yeah,
And
you
basically
can run a slideshow or something, right?
Yeah. Although I'm just going to do them individual.
Yeah.
But basically, the thing I found that works easiest for me is I just went to a free photo hosting site and bring them up the same way as like doing a video. You just hit the present down there, and you have a tab up above, and you just click on that tab. But yeah, just if you just sit and play with it, I think you'll find a lot. Well, that's like because Finkel was doing it before me, and he showed me the basics. See, I'm bad at like self-learning as far as learning how to first do something. Like I can't read a manual, and when it says I need it to be like push this button, then do that. So
Yeah.
Finkel, he took me through like the basics the one day, and I said to him, within a couple of days, I'm going to be showing you stuff you don't know. And I was doing that to him the other day. I showed him how to put the little banner at the bottom of the screen and other stuff like that.
Cool. See, I don't know how to do all that. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you while you're still here. Oh wait, no, you wouldn't be able to see it in here because you don't have the.
So you do that from the StreamYard stream? Is that where
Yeah.
you do that at?
Yeah, when you have your own going, you'll see over on the right. Well, where it says where you have comments and it could be the public or private comment thing.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Now on mine, underneath there, I have three other. Well, I have comments and private chat, but the two you're not seeing right now, it's called banners and brand. And if you click in banners, you can like. So I can bring up one right now that's. Well, I can. Well, here I'll do one real. I have because I have a couple.
What shows up? I have a couple of. You get like people's comments that. Oh, there you go.
No, now for people's comments, if I go back over here, if you just go and click on where they commented.
Oh.
You click on it and it'll show it'll say show, or you get over here and you go back and you hit hide and it goes away. Well, and banners you can make it do the scroll, or it could just sit there.
So that's through a live stream though, right? Because I went in where it wasn't a live stream and I made a couple of like saved videos where it's not live, it's just videos, saved videos.
I actually just played with that for the first time last night. And because it just says record then instead of go live, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I had all the same controls.
Pretty much the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as but I guess you just have to make sure it has a destination where this is going to be aired, right? So you have to go to your YouTube channel or whatever.
That was one thing. I still have to mess around with the recorded thing because I wasn't quite sure how to, when I ended it, how to get it where I wanted it to be. Yeah. Although it ended up being on YouTube eventually. Where with live, you just you click your account and it's, it's automatically linked to your YouTube.
Yeah, I'm sure I can figure it out. I just haven't messed with it. So, but I like. I guess people use this StreamYard. I've come into another a guy's YouTube channel as a guest a couple of times, and he was playing some little game where some hot chick in Hawaii was going to choose from some eligible bachelors who she wanted to have a date with, and she's in Hawaii, so like how the hell am I going to have a date with her? I'm not going to Hawaii to have a date with her. I didn't win, but
I
but at
kind of
least
think, I think the, and I won't swear to this, but I think the way the whole live streaming thing started was mostly with gamers who they'd be sitting there playing like Call of Duty or something, and they would be broadcasting it live. Their friends could see them, doing, whatever they were doing.
playing their games. Don't they
Yeah.
have? Don't they use a platform called Switch for that? I think
Is that,
I think that's one of them they use.
yeah, I
Now
don't,
I'm familiar with. Let's see. I'm familiar with BitChute. I'm familiar with Rumble. I'm familiar with. There's another one called that starts with an F. What is it called?
see, I haven't used, I don't even, like I made a Twitter account. The one that, well, basically what it was, remember when, I forget what was the Vice President Pence. When Pence was in a debate the one time and there was a fly on his head, and I took a screenshot of that and I started a Twitter account, Mike Pence's fly. That's, but I don't do Twitter or
I don't
TikTok
either.
or anything. Facebook and YouTube is, so I
That's
don't
all
really
I do
know
too.
about all that
I
other.
have an Instagram, but I don't ever comment in there. I just look at the hot chicks. That's it.
Yeah.
And then I think I may have set up a Twitter account like probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I don't think I've ever even made a comment in there. And I don't use it. I haven't logged into it in years.
Yeah.
So I really don't even. I really don't really like even being on social media that much, to be honest with you. I don't like being on Facebook. I use it for a reason. I'm able to stay in touch with a lot of friends and family that otherwise I wouldn't be in touch with. So that's why I have it. And then you can market. I mean, being in a band, we set up events and try and tell all of our people, hey, come see us. Because I mean that's kind of what we need. We need people to come over and spend their money, and it kind of gets us invited back, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I think really for that, I think, you get more out of Facebook than you would
yeah,
here.
right, yeah.
This would be, as far as, like the band and that, this would be great for if you had a monetized channel, and then we're trying to attract people from all over. But when you're trying to sell tickets, to Bob's Bar and Grill,
Yeah.
it doesn't do you any good to have friends, followers from Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can set up, I mean, if you can set up videos of, the band playing, if you
Yeah.
know how to do all that. And if you got to have somebody that knows how to record and do really good photo shoots. And because if it's done by amateur, it's not very good. And it actually
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
really help you.
It hurts you more than help. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
Let's,
So
now, if you ever decide to do like live streaming of one of your shows, I think people would be more forgiving of any technical stuff with that. You know what I mean?
that
If
might
they
be
know,
something. Can you do that from your phone? Can you do StreamYard
Oh, yeah.
from your phone?
all those auditors, I don't want to say all, 90% of auditors, when they're doing live streams, it's from their iPhone.
And that's how they get their live feed onto YouTube, is by using StreamYard.
I think they probably use, because StreamYard doesn't have a downloadable app yet. I looked for that. They use, there's a YouTube app to do live.
Yeah, I think you
YouTube
can
live.
go. I think I can go live on YouTube just straight from YouTube. I think I can.
Yeah, I know it has a thing about live over there.
Yeah, I think I can. I don't know if I ever have. Have I?
But-
Maybe I have,
but
but
to
I
do-
don't remember.
To do it for a location, you'd have to put the app on your phone and do it. But yeah, like I said, the thing, if you want to try doing that, get yourself a gimbal.
Yeah.
to take the shake out. And you get one like, well, I'll show you. I don't remember what this costs, but I can tell you it wasn't a whole lot because I can't. Let me take the blur off so you can see better. But like this.
Yeah, so it's got like a little tripod or something.
Yeah. Like that's where the phone attaches up there, and and it also extends.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Now this isn't the kind I should have got one that you could set on the ground, but basically if you had this, they could set it at the edge of the stage or on a table or something and just have it pointed. Or the nice thing about them too, if somebody is walking around doing of course the gimbal takes a lot of that shake and stuff.
Right, yeah.
So that would make it look more appealing to people. But like I said, also the thing about it is if they know you're live, they're not going to be looking for high quality graphics or anything like that.
I'll show you something that I did have. If I can find it. I don't know. Maybe I can't find it. I don't know. I have a little tripod. It's not a gimbal, but I have used it. I have a separate phone that I have used to record. It's not alive. It's not activated. It works on Wi-Fi, but it's an older phone. And I have used this, and I also have a body cam. I bought a nice police type body cam, the ones that most of the auditors are buying.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I took I took some advice from an auditor that's here locally, and it was about $150. But yeah, it's a good camera. And then I also have I have a tripod with a Nikon camera that will do video as well. It won't go live, but so I could record static with that, record live with this, and have a body cam. I could have all three. And I've thought this through because I really wanted to go out and do auditing. My problem is I'm too chicken shit.
Yeah. Well, you've watched Finkel's videos.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying he's chicken shit or anything. He's not, but you notice he usually isn't in situations, because he just like stays on the sidewalks and stuff. He doesn't really get in people's face and stuff. So, you can do that kind of thing without having to worry too much about I can't even think of the word I want. But I went real quick to Amazon, and like I see a gimbal just like mine, but I can't imagine it's $100, and I don't think I spent that much. But and then there's other ones that come with more attachments and stuff. So that is relatively cheap. But yeah, like as far as with your band. Yeah. And of course, you'll have to learn to, or you'll have to have somebody who can do the editing. But what you could do, you have, like I said there, just have that doing a live stream. And then, you have your body cam and your Nikon and stuff, and learn how to do editing. And then you could put together a nice video afterwards, like people see the live stream and then you do a 1 hour thing, of it with the different camera angles,
different cameras, right?
Yeah. Like I would even use your body cam on that because getting like audience reaction shots and things like that.
What it looks like if you were me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you could make some cool videos that way.
Yeah, that probably could. There's a lot, to.
And
I don't know how to do all that though, but.
I was gonna say, I think if I were you, what I would do is do the live things, and don't worry about the other ones right away. Like do the full recording.
Yeah.
And then play around with the editing and stuff until you get to where you think you're making a product you want people to see.
So I had a buddy of mine that came to a couple of our shows, and I had him, like, start at the beginning, and then at the end of the song, stop. I want the songs to be on their own,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
one video. And so I was able to do that, but it's really not great audio. It's not great video. It's we're playing loud, and it's kind of blowing out the speaker. I mean, the microphone. You're over. It's not done well. It's not done. It's just when you try and go up against someone who knows how to do this shit fairly well, even
yeah,
as an amateur. I'm not even talking about the professionals. I mean, but even as an amateur, people that they know how to compress the audio or whatever they're
yeah.
doing to get a reasonably decent sound. Um,
Well, that's something too. If
yeah,
you put together a nice 2-hour video, then it takes like 5 hours to get it up on YouTube. But
yeah.
another thing, now I don't know that these would do a whole lot of good with when you're doing a gig, but this also didn't cost more. You get 2 of these
What is that?
body mic,
Oh,
and this part of it just plugs into my iPhone.
okay.
That's the receiver for it, and you get clearer audio. And I like with 2, like then if you're talking to someone else or something, you're both getting nice clear audio. And the thing I got it for is I did some videos like driving around,
Yeah.
and you stick your camera out the window, and all people then are hearing is the wind going by. With this way, you can have the camera out there in the wind, but they're getting the audio from your mic.
So yeah, they don't have that. Yeah. You're not. So the microphone is not outside.
Yeah. Now,
That
like I
guy.
said, I don't know how good that would be though for doing performances.
What's that guy's name? KULT News. Have you seen him?
Oh yeah, I love him.
Yeah, I like him too. I like his style, man. He's yeah.
Mike and Stacy.
Yep, Mike and Stacy, man. He's a lucky man to have her.
Yeah.
He don't just. I mean, he looks like he's too ugly to have her, but okay.
I actually jokingly made a comment like that the one time, and he like totally agrees.
Yeah.
Whenever I watch any of his, and he doesn't do it all the time anymore, but still, when there'll be a shot of like Stacy walking by in the background, I automatically sit there going, da dun, da dun, da dun, da dun, da dun. Because he used to do that all the time because she was almost always wearing pink.
Yeah.
So she'd be walking by and he'd have the Pink Panther theme in there. But that I really I like his style a lot.
Yeah, he's made some good stuff. I like that guy, and he don't have a problem, getting in the face of. I mean, he don't get in their face, but he'll challenge their bullshit authority.
Yeah. Yep.
And
he stands up for himself.
Yeah. Well, I would too, to my own detriment. I think I would too, if I knew I was right, and I do know that I would be right. I'd do it all the way to going to jail, and that's where I'm not really prepared for that. So,
I just told Finkel the other day, I'd like to get to where I could go out and do some of this stuff. And I said, I'd love to go down and do some with him. I said, but the only problem is we get along good online. I'm not sure we'd be a good match out on the street, because I would be a lot more likely than he is to go, just fuck off. You know what I mean? And he never does that. But I would tend to do that when the cops are getting too pushy or something. I wouldn't be as polite as he is. So,
well, you know how they come up with all their bullshit. They don't know that you know. They try and intimidate you with this John Wayne Act, and that shit. I ain't buying that bullshit. What do you? I see some of these cops. I mean, I just saw one where somebody was sitting in a McDonald's. I was looking at this one yesterday. I don't even remember the channel, but the cops come in and they're harassing this homeless guy that's sitting in McDonald's, and he just happens to be sitting there having his breakfast, and they saw him in there, but they didn't mess with him until they saw that he was recording them, and then all of a sudden they want to go get in his fucking business.
Yep,
You know?
I saw that. I saw that. Yep.
And well, what are you doing? You want to get involved in this? This threatening, these little threats like this. What's your ID? I want your ID. And he never spoke to him. He didn't say a damn word to him. And man, I would have told him, fuck off. I'm not. You need to mind your own fucking business. I was sitting here. I was sitting here, and before you saw my camera, I wasn't a problem. It wasn't, your safety wasn't threatened until you saw the camera. So, shut the fuck up and leave me alone.
Yesterday I watched the latest one from Erie County Dan.
Yeah.
And the first part of it, he was showing like an old interaction with the cops in this one town who've now killed a woman for having a flashlight. But anyway, he was showing the interaction that they had been setting up. It was like the cops from this town were sitting up across the border in another town to catch people speeding and stuff. And so he went there to film them doing that, like outside of their jurisdiction. And so he went up and he like challenged the cop. And so then the cop was like, "Is that your truck parked down there?" "Well, you're parked illegally." And so he's giving him a ticket. But what I liked was he was asking him for ID. He says, "You don't need my ID." "Well, I need an ID to write you the citation." Now, anyone with common sense, it's like, okay, if they're going to write a parking citation,
yeah,
the person isn't necessarily even going to be by their car. So obviously you're writing the citation to the car from the license plate.
Right.
But, he just wanted his ID. So he actually put him in cuffs for a while.
Did
he? Yeah. But, and he right now, he has a federal lawsuit pending on it because what they tried to charge him with was thrown out of court. What was it for? It was for, I forget now what they tried to call him on, but anyway, it was thrown out, so that just like strengthened his civil case now. But yeah, it's like they do that, and like you said, it's because they count on you not knowing.
They do.
Yeah.
They will try and intimidate you. They will try and bluff you, and I mean, they'll just say stupid shit that isn't true. They know that they're full of shit. Even, I think they actually believe their own bullshit half the time.
Yep.
But I mean, they're on some level, you got to know that you don't really know what you're talking about, even deep down inside,
They'll even quote laws that don't exist.
Yeah, I know.
Oh no, they passed a law that you cannot be within 50 feet of an officer on duty or whatever,
Yeah, they say some bullshit. They just make it up. Yeah.
My one nephew, who's actually great nephew. I don't know why you skip over grand with nephew, but anyway, he just graduated high school last year, and he's going off to college, and him and his dad came down for lunch before he went, and I talked to him for quite a while, and it's sort of like when you're talking to 17, 18-year-olds, you don't know how much they're really going to listen because they already know everything. But I gave him like a long talk about dealing with police and stuff because, cops hate college kids almost as much as they hate minorities.
Yeah.
They especially, and in some ways it's understandable, especially imagine like if you're a cop, not just, in New York City, but if it's like a college town that is, like there's a lot of towns where their main industry is the college.
Yeah.
So you've spent 20 years dealing with the most obnoxious people on the planet because first of all, there's nothing worse than a know-it-all 18-year-old boy. And even worse is when they go to college and still start thinking they really know everything. They get really obnoxious. So it's only natural that like after a while you're going to go, I just can't stand these punks, And they should try to treat everybody. But anyway, so like I said to him, I said, and I don't have to tell you though, it's like the whole speech on they'll try to act like they're your friend and that, but they're looking for ways to get you and all that,
Well, I haven't had any interactions with police in a while, knock on wood. But the last time I got pulled over, I was pulled over by HPD, Houston Police Department, for speeding, and I did. I was speeding, and but he starts asking me questions like, "Don't you know what the speed limit is here?" Or "Well, what's your hurry?" Or he asked me some shit like that, and I just didn't answer him. I just remained. I didn't even say, anything to him. And he goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." He goes, "You look nervous." I said, "Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I mean, I've got a strange man with a gun confronting me right now, And he said, fair enough. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Look.
And he went on and just write me the ticket and let me go. And HPD is actually very easy to get out of.
Really?
Yeah, they're pretty easy. They got so many. They can't. Anybody that tries to challenge them, if you hire a local, they have these law services, that you pay them $50 and they'll get your court date reset, and then when they get it reset, that's when they're going to have a trial. And then when you show up, there's 100 people in there that are here for trial, and there's like 2 cops sitting there. So that means 2 out of 100 are going to have one, and the other 98 are going to get dismissed.
Yeah.
So that's how that goes. So they're really, these traffic court is really set up to just take your money. That's really what they're set up for. If you challenge them in any way, and at least that city. Now that doesn't go for some of the suburbs around here all the time. They're kind of different, but they'll try a little harder. As a matter of fact, if you hire a lawyer out here, the lawyer is basically going to be helping the traffic court, get your money from your pocket, But
the last and I think the only ticket I ever had was one time I got nabbed for a expired inspection sticker, and the thing that really hurt was I had just gone up to a mechanic's place to get my inspection done, and they're the ones that told me, come Monday at this time. And here I went up there and they were out deer hunting. So I was driving home and that's when the cop pulled me over. But anyway, when, and I got the ticket and I went to the magistrate's office and I said, can I set up a payment plan on this? I said, I can't afford the 150 or whatever it was all at once. And I remembered like the secretary going, "Oh, you're not going to challenge it?" Huh. And I said, "No, my inspection was, it was expired. What can I say? But it's like, I think pretty much everybody who walked in, instead of just sending them the money in the mail, was coming in to challenge it. Probably basically because they knew, like the cop can't show up for all that stuff. So,
yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, Houston, the cop won't show up. I mean, very rarely will they show up, and if they don't have a witness there, then they got nothing, right? Yeah, they can't prove to the court, or you don't have to prove anything to the court, but you just need that cop to stand there under oath and say, "I witnessed him speeding," and that's good enough for the judge. Because, by the way, the witness is the cop. He works for the municipality. The prosecutor works for the municipality, and the judge works for the municipality. That's where they all draw their paycheck from.
Yeah.
So you have a classic conflict of interest right here. That's what you have. How is that fair? You can't be fair. You represent the party that's bringing the action against me. How can you be fair? The hell is that? You know.
You know what I had thought before, and I don't know how you could ever do a complete overhaul to make it work now, but I thought the way the system should be, you got the cops on the street who arrest people, you know. But I thought, you know, like especially when you're talking about like a major crime, you know, when it's a murder or whatever, you know, I always felt like the detectives should be an independent organization. Because, you know, the detectives, they're just cops, right? You know, and they're looking to pin it on somebody.
Right.
And I thought what it really should be is they should be independent investigators and who don't go in with a preconception that the guy the cops brought in is guilty. They go and investigate everything and then decide, you know. But like I said, I don't know how you'd ever set a system like that up. You'd have to basically start from scratch. It would be a whole new mindset and everything. But it's pretty much like you said, it's like everybody you deal with, they're all on the side of the government.
They're all on the same team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, you know, the lawyers are agents of the court also. So,
Yeah.
I mean, so even when you hire one that's supposed to be defending you, how do you know they are? I mean, they're probably playing golf with the judge, you know, at you know, a couple of times a year at his little, you know, at his little philanthropic thing that he has or something, you know, that he has he's got some fundraiser thing that he, you know, and he invites all those people to come in and make a fucking $500 donation, you know, and come with it, you know?
I think a lot of times, even if a lawyer, you know, he thinks he's representing you and he's working for you, but I think depending on a lot of the situations, a lot of times maybe they're not going to go to the mat for you because even if they're not like friends or whatever, they don't want to piss off a judge that they're going to be seeing later.
No,
You know,
no.
they piss them off this time. Now the next time they walk into court against this judge, he's already against them and stuff. And they can make their life a lot harder. And so I think that's part of it too.
It's you know, even if they're not trying to be, you know, lick their boots, let's say, they may not be doing that, but they still have to present themselves as being a little bit of an ass kisser, you know, because you got to give it, yes, your honor, and you got to do all that shit. You got to give him his, you know, you got to play by the rules of the court. And if you don't, you know, they're going to do that because they want to have favor, at least, you know, that this is this guy's a shoot. He's a, you know, he doesn't come in here and upset the court. Right. And,
you might not have to kiss the ass, but you sure as hell better bend over to it, bow to it.
Yeah, you better. You better not step on his toes. I know that. I'm gonna get out of here, man.
Yep, it was a good conversation.
All right,
we'll see you again, probably in Finkel's channel sometime.
You betcha, man. Have a good one.
Yep, you too. Take it easy.
All right.